Everyone to a regular meeting, Alton City Council, November 11th, 2025, commencing at 6:30 p.m. I'm Mayor David Kent. To your right is Vice Mayor Pellegrini. Next council member in line to your right, Kevin Houlihan, I've had several terms, and our newest council member, Ted Hupper.
That was the role.
To your left is, seated earlier this year, is council member Elena Suarez, receiving an impressive mandate from the voters. We have our city manager, John Kennedy, with us this evening. Welcome. We have our code enforcement officer and deputy city clerk, Lee Anderson, our city attorney, Sean Cameron, and our finance director, to your right, Jessica Bigby. Will our resilience officer be participating remotely or otherwise?
He's probably on the road driving home right now,
Understood.
my guess.
Thank
He
you.
was, he was here all day.
For those of you not familiar with these proceedings, we're bound by policy and law to adhere to rules of order and conduct the orderly meeting conducive to solving and addressing matters to do with the city. So we cannot engage in dialogue with the public. But when it comes time to public comment for items not on the agenda, feel free to approach the podium and express yourself. There'll also be other opportunities throughout the agenda to comment, throughout the agenda to comment on each item. Our call to order now begins with our roll call. Deputy City Clerk.
I do want to remind you too, that since you introduced everyone, we do have our fire chief here and our public works director and firefighters.
Welcome our fire chief,
All part of the,
Miyagi, Director Viking.
our
Hayden.
public works director, Jory.
Jory Hayden.
Yeah, he works
I
here.
forgot your last name.
Back there. Hayden.
Way back. Well, welcome and thank you for participating. And the other member,
Oh, just firefighters.
welcome. Thank you for your service to our.
We could use that as
Appreciate
the,
that.
as roll call.
Well,
I guess you did just do a roll call.
partially.
All right,
Please complete.
we'll do a complete one. All right, Council Member Terry Hupfer. Councilmember Elena Suarez.
Here.
Councilmember Pamela Boulihan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Carl Pellegrini.
Here.
Mayor David Kent.
Here.
Everyone's here.
Our next item is public comment, as alluded to earlier. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council on any item other than those listed on the agenda. Speakers are requested to use the podium in front of the council and to begin by stating their name. The mayor may impose a time limit on any speaker depending on the number of people wanting to speak and the time available for the rest of the agenda. In the event comments are related to an item scheduled on the agenda, speakers will be asked to wait to make their comments until that item is being considered. And by the way, this evening, I'm going to exercise my discretion by keeping to a 3-minute firm time limit. This is customary for most public agencies and municipalities. So with that, please approach the podium, anyone who's present wishing to speak to the council this evening.
Mandy Ellen, 35 Ford Avenue. I just want to make a comment and thank the Ileton Fire Department for participating in the Halloween parade for the kids and the barbecue. I heard a lot of good feedback. My daughter works there. She said everybody got involved. The president of PTA came into the bank. He said how great it was. So thank you guys for being there. Hope to see you out more often.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, present here? Anyone online, Deputy City Clerk?
I have no hands raised. We're good.
Okay, we'll proceed with the next agenda item, item 3, the consent agenda. These items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. The city council will act upon them at one time without discussion. Any council member, staff member, or interested party may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Item A, approved minutes for October 14th, 2025, regular meeting, and October 21st, 2025, special meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve minutes for the October 14th regular meeting and October 21st special.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Councilmember Terry Hupfer.
Aye.
Councilmember Elena Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Pamela Boulihan. Vice Mayor Carl Pellegrini.
Yes.
Mayor David Kent.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Item 4, continuation of public hearing and adopt resolution 09-25, conditional use permit for the California Pallet Company. Adopt resolution 09-25, approving conditional use permit CUP 01-25 and design review DR 01-25 for an expansion of an existing pallet assembly, storage, and delivery business at 105th Street and 401 6th Street. Who would like to introduce this?
I will. So this is basically the continuation of the pallet factory conditional use permit application. It's the same as last meeting. We do have Gary, our planner, virtual, and the project owners and the applicants representative Rob Wood as well, if any questions need to be asked. So this is basically a Groundhog Day of the last meeting, and open up for discussion, public hearing, and see what happens.
Great. Council, would you care to discuss further?
I had, sorry. So I read through all of the documents. I think it was the fourth time that I read through them, and I, because there was nothing in the documents, and perhaps, Mr. Price can tell me, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I didn't see anything in the documents that would help us understand the sound of the shredder on the property. There were a lot of testing, there was a lot of sound testing done, and it appeared to be all quite appropriate. But on the property itself, the sound testing is really only focused on the existing activities, not on the shredder. And so as a consequence of that, it appears to me that the mitigation for sound is also focused mostly on the existing sound, and the only, call it mitigation for the shredder itself is by putting it in the far corner of the property. And while it is accurate that this is not an area that is residential, it is for a town of 800 people, highly trafficked area, as it is the primary route people take to go on walks and such, which makes it residential adjacent in my opinion. So what I wanted to put out there is the possibility of approval of this with the condition that they add, and I don't know if we have web going on, I heard have web on now. If they add abatement of sound, as in even the same barriers they're putting up on the side on 5th Street, in the red zone, sound red zone on the opposite corner, to help so that if people are walking by, which they will, they are not subject to the loudest impacts of the shredder as they're walking. So anyway, I don't know, Mr. Price, if you need to comment on that, but that was my one
Sure.
proposed addition.
Can you all hear me?
To try and get that shredder over.
Is that an addition, a sound curtain?
Yes,
The-
exactly.
Okay. Gary, did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Did you hear
Can
that?
you all hear me?
You can unmute him.
Can you hear,
They're unmuted.
Okay.
can you all hear me?
I'm not hearing them though.
Are we not hearing them?
Oh, yeah. So that's too bad. No one can hear me. Hello, anybody there? I'm here. Okay, this is not working.
Are these working?
Yeah,
Hmm.
they're working.
My audio is
We
on.
can't
It's,
hear all people talking.
can you hear me?
Can't even hear online.
Darn it.
Okay.
Let me leave.
We have technical
Why
difficulties.
don't you try to unmute Rob Wood, see if he can. Is your
Yeah, can
volume
you
on
hear
the
me?
laptop up or down?
Should
Can
be.
you hear me?
Rob, are you able to speak and us hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Possible to use chat to get an answer to specific questions?
Can you hear us now, Rob?
Yes, I can hear
I
you.
guess is the question.
I was
can
able to
you
hear
online.
Gary also.
Let him back in.
Gary, can you hear me?
Rob, can you use the chat feature online
Hey, can you hear me
and
now?
ask if,
Can you hear me now?
or
Yeah, we use this one of the city phones to just call into the Zoom and then have it open.
the city phones?
Yeah, we have a couple of.
Can you hear me now? I went in and out.
No, like, oh.
What's that noise?
It's trying to come through, but
Yeah, I'm talking. It's showing that I'm talking and
yeah, it's
I can hear you, Gary.
you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, but
someone's
they
trying.
can't.
We hear you.
They can't hear me and they can't hear you, but I can hear you.
It has something to do with this. down there.
Yeah, and it's from the earlier working on stuff.
I don't know about the city phone, but
Yours.
I'll go get mine.
Your name. Thank you.
Gary's calling me right now, so. Hi, Gary.
Yes, can you hear me?
That's the speaker.
Yeah, go ahead and mute your
Yeah, sorry about that.
other.
Yeah, and I think Rob is having Rob is.
You need to mute
Yeah, I did.
your computer.
Let me just pause. Yeah, Rob is able to, Rob and I are able to communicate. But I think there's something wrong with the city system.
Yeah, we do too. So go ahead. I think we can hear you.
I'm not advocating the project either way, but I understand this is a small community, very tight. But this is an industrial zone. So keeping that in perspective, a conditional use permit for this operation is to look at the compatibility of what the use. And so if the use is not considered compatible, then you have an opportunity to deny the conditional use permit. But in this case, it seems like the use is compatible with perhaps an exception to the shredder. That seems to be the shredder is being a concern. The noise study does show that the shredder with the sound shield does comply with the city regulations. So what you're asking, as I understand it, is something that would be beyond the city regulations, but which would possibly would be fine, but it would just be, we need to make sure the applicant is aware of that. And that, I think it would be really beneficial to see if there is a benefit with, further studies to invest in
So Gary,
further noise reductions. Because what we're trying to do is, we're trying to do with a public meeting is do a noise engineering, and I'm not a noise engineer.
So Gary, I will try to respond to that, and then if Vice Mayor Pellegrini wants to correct me, she can. I don't believe we're asking for anything like you just illustrated. I believe she's asking if the applicant would agree to additional sound curtains in an adjacent area that she's described on the map. Closer to the shredder. Is that correct?
Yeah, and also, I guess I'd like to step back and say what, in reading through it, I did not see evidence of a sound shield. Can you describe that to me? Because you may be doing what I'm asking for already.
Yeah, and I think I'd rather let Rob explain that a little bit better. because, the sound, it's basically a sound curtain that sits situated on the wall of the fence that faces the
Okay.
residential area.
I thought there was a sound curtain.
So, Gary, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the requirement.
So Gary, what, that is on the fence by Fifth. And what I am requesting is a corner sound curtain that is adjacent to the shredder itself, which will be at the corner of Jackson and Sixth. So doing the same type of a barrier actually where the noise is happening at Sixth and Jackson.
I wouldn't even know if that would work. It might, it's a really good idea. I think we really have to ask the applicant if they're willing to do that, because I think we could require it, but if we require it, it should be based on, evidence that this curtain's gonna mitigate the noise.
I'm also gonna read the message, since we're having these technical difficulties, we're a little wonky here, but it's okay, we can get through. There's a message here from Rob Wood, the representative for the applicant. Let me just read it. I can hear everyone. The noise study did analyze the wood shredder and the existing operations. The shredder will be restricted to 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Typically, it will only be used once or twice a week for a couple hours during the middle of the day. I think that helps put some things in perspective. Operation hours, 10. Yeah. I mean, it's in an industrial zone.
The number, it gets to be a real enforcement problem for the city to try to restrict the operation. To be able to say, well, you're only going to be using it twice a week, and the guy goes out and starts using it 3 or 4 times a week. But I mean that might be one way to solve this.
I guess I'm not sure why trying to put more restrictions on the operating hours is a better solve than adding an additional curtain.
I'm not a sound engineer. I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you. There's
Yeah,
a relationship.
this question's now for Rob Wood, not you, Gary.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Rob, do you want to answer this in text, or would you like to call my cell phone as well? And just give him my number in case. (707). That's 202. Hi, Rob.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
So, in regards to the sound curtain, are you talking about, I mean, what kind of distance are we talking about on the south side of the project?
So on the page that has the list, I don't know what the number is because this pages aren't actually numbered, but figure 2, which is the wood grinder noise levels, that has the existing homes numbered 1 through 9, and it has the concentric circles of sound and the decibel that represents.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What you're looking at, I don't think is in
I printed it today from the
from the packet.
yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So there's the little yellow stars, which is where the shredder would be, and then it's blue and red or purple, and then red, and then yellow, lighter yellow and green. My suggestion would be that in the area that is blue, purple, red, there be a sound curtain, understanding from Mr. Price that we can't say with certainty how much litigation that would cause. People are shorter than 6 feet, most, not everyone. And therefore, one would presume it might help mitigate the sound as folks are walking through that adjacent area. And so it is the corner of Jackson and Sixth. It looks like it's about 300 feet in each direction, maybe a little more, 150, something like that.
Did you say about 300 feet?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably more like 350, if I go by the scale that is on this sheet. Just from a decibel dissipation level, it seems like by the time it gets out to about 350 feet, the decibels drop.
Is that a public trail that people use throughout the day?
It's actually, it's a street, it's the last street of the town, and it is a, there are no sidewalks, and people walk their dogs there virtually every day, jog there, just go on regular walks. It's there's like across the street from that is a forested area that is quite beautiful, that is a nice place for folks to be able to just walk by and appreciate the quiet and beauty of Ileton. So it's an important part of the town. When you I don't know if you've been here, but the town is 6th Street. It goes from 1st Street to 6th Street. That's it. So it is the end of our town that this represents.
I don't think the applicant would be opposed to putting additional sound curtain. You know, I'm not sure exactly how we would add that to the condition, but I don't think there would be an issue with adding additional sound curtain if the wood shredder is put in place. It may not happen right away, so I would at least like the condition to state that if and when or prior to the wood shredder being in operation, that additional sound curtains would be considered or put in place on the south side near 6th Street to reduce noise to the I guess to 6th Street, or are we talking Jackson also?
It would be Jackson also. It's literally it's a loop around the town. That is the one kind of loop around our town. It's basically the walking path.
So are we talking about a sound curtain all the way around from
No,
10th all the way down Jackson?
It'd be going from the corner of Jackson and 6th, about 350 feet in either direction. Now that notwithstanding that I think I'm not sure exactly where that second gate is on Jackson. So obviously there would not be a sound curtain effective.
Yeah, I think we could agree to that. I think we could agree to put up additional sound curtain if the wood shredder is to be used.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that because I remember SACOG a while back on the land use committee was proposing 6th Street be included as part of the regional trail. So you're walking by, all this noise going down.
And that's now been revitalized, by the way. It's being.
And then also, there's a house at one end of School Street. It's been for sale for a bit. The ones that were putting up for sale, they haven't been in that house very long because when it was first sold, it sold fast. But then the folks that lived there after that, they see all this stuff going on, all this noise, and that house has been vacant for a while.
It's picking up.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Speakers.
That's my only.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I'd like to commend you for your thorough understanding of the document and that innovation. And I think council would probably be inclined to adopt that. And thanks to the representative of the applicant for agreeing to consider that. I aspire to have my voting record be as consistent as possible, and I'm pro-business, believing that the diversity of zoning here contributes to economic opportunity and advantage. I do realize that the setback lines between zones are narrow and we're within a restricted area, but I think it's worth the investment to consider these applications and expedite them whenever possible. So that's my comment on what our decision before us this evening. We should probably go to public comment then, if there's no further comments by council.
Well, you should double check that and then open the public hearing.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Is there special verbiage for that?
You can say the public hearing is now open and
Public hearing
you
is
can bang that if you want.
on this matter, agenda item 4 is now open. So now we invite public comment?
Yeah.
Please feel free, those present first.
And we're gonna have to apologize for anyone that might be online. You know, the online is a feature that isn't a guarantee.
Yeah, are you inclined to accept chat or?
If someone wants to type it, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hi, Ruby Fowler, 43 Main Street. I agree with you, Mayor Kent, that we should be a pro-business community. I feel like this issue of the chipper is kind of may turn into a non-issue. And I walk 6th Street every day with my dogs. And it's 3 hours a day, right? 3 or 4 on the weekday.
4.
And what concerns me is I think the applicant has already indicated that he's looking for a place that is more pro-business and more welcoming of their project. If he has to take his shredder elsewhere, still have his stuff, his pallets trucked out, what would be his incentive for staying here rather than locating another alternative? I think it's a good business, and I think it's one that we don't want to lose. I'm not really convinced that the sound is as big an issue as the fear is about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else present wishing to speak? Please approach. Thank you.
No, I didn't see it.
That's supposed to be a joke.
Names.
Absolutely not.
And Elder, 35 Fifth Avenue. These studies that we have to do all the time, I think it's just a way to get money. I don't think they prove anything. As far as the chipper, we're not gonna know until it gets here how loud it's gonna, if it's gonna be loud. How often they're gonna use it, they may not use it as much as they think. We've got it in place, and if the noise is too loud, then you guys can say, hey, you either gotta do this or get rid of it. So I don't know what the problem is. I just think that they've been here a while. They've done everything that we've asked them to do. I think we should show them the same courtesy and say, let's see what happens. If we have to turn them away with that, then we do that. But that's it.
Thank you. Next, please.
John Randolph. A couple of weeks, or maybe another few sessions back, I also spoke on this issue here. I have no horse in the race. I just see a problem with sound. And I look for a solution. And the solution that I proposed before was that the owner could consider doing a more localized enclosure that is a very simple monocot steel building, prefabricated, minimal footings, that could be purchased and installed within a week, literally. Company called Steel Master Buildings. I had a conversation with the senior design specialist. I actually briefed him on what little I knew about this process. And he said that his buildings are used for this purpose of sound mitigation all the time. In conglomerate or in conjunction with another material that's called K19, which is sprayed onto the interior surface and drinks up all sound. So I I want to give this information to someone. I just don't know who I could give it to pass on to the owner, because I think it might help the owner, and it's not a very expensive solution. And if you pass this and it gets too loud, this would be a good fallback.
Thank you. Anyone else present wishing to speak? We'll do our best online then, Deputy City Clerk.
I did get an email from Rob for you, John. I'll pass on Rob's email to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
But no, nobody is typing in the chat to make any comments other than for John.
Back to us for a motion and vote.
Are you gonna, if there's no more public comment, you'll want to close the
Oh,
public.
let's close the public hearing. Back to our regular meeting. Motion, please.
Yep, I move to approve the conditional use permit 0125 and design review DR 0125 with the condition.
Condition number
With
8
the-
to expand curtain to location specified.
Exactly.
Thank you. Councilman Suarez. We have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Palladino.
Thank you. Councilmember Terry Huffer,
Yes.
Councilmember Elias Suarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Pamela Boulihan,
I with conditions, and I like Sean's idea.
Vice Mayor Cara Pellegrini,
Yes.
Mayor David Kent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Item 5, grant update. An educational session on the grants the city of Ileton is currently managing.
We're gonna let Jessica take that one for a spin.
Thanks.
So we do have some existing grants that we're making progress on, and we are working to explore what other grants we might be eligible for. Grants are important part of managing our infrastructure from while still balancing our financial needs. I have attached in the packet and just a brief highlight of, where we're at with them. And I'll go through them briefly, but we do have it with ourselves three grants, which we have talked about here before. We have hired a chief resilience officer, which we met. We are working to increase capacity to develop local initiatives that foster resilience and recovery, including audit trucks and documentation. So a lot of the words I just used are straight out of the core canons on that grant. We have basically realigned the work that we're doing in this grant with what that grant has evolved to be currently. And it's going really well. We are already, Kurt is already in talk with the auditor that did our audit for the last year, and we are pleased here today gathering documentation and we're really trying to push that and complete that as quickly as possible to see if we can start utilizing that to get more grants. So initially when Ileton applied for that grant, a lot of that work was flood emergency response. We have taken that work and moved it to a different grant. I included a slide for what Prepare California, the Jumpstart Grant was really about. And it's a very restricted grant, and that there are 3 eligible now available to us: salaries, benefits, and then whatever supplies and materials for that position and dollar amount. But we're utilizing. So the Department of Water Resources grant that I talked about is a Delta Flood Emergency Response grant. And we took kind of what we were hoping to do within that Jumpstart grant and are putting in this one. It is a shorter timeline grant, in that you really do probably have maybe a year to work on that. We're working on the timeline with them now. Our Kurt has attended some required training. That was why he was here last month. And then we have a visit, I believe, next week with their team coming down to kind of look at where we're at, what our kind of flood plains look like. And also they're going to be evaluating if there are any other grants that do be part of it. I'm sure we'll send our way for help. We have purchased 2 pumps, and that was before my time, but Jory and Jerry have those within the phone system for use. And then this is just key kind of tasks that are a part of those grant deliverables. So there's a local flood emergency response plan, there's map development, there's the notification system upgrade, and flood fight materials and equipment. And this is kind of an integrated project between our fire guys too. At some point that hopefully we can see if there's anything that you guys can use. 2 months. Else. One more flashy thing in here is there's money for a marquee, very specific. It's used or lose it, so we might be getting a new sign. And there is a reason for that. In that, if we need to post an emergency message that says evacuate, now we have space for it. So a digital sign. Yeah, it was part of the. It's the very specific. Like you have this money for digital sign. Okay, great. Yes, he's gonna say whatever Dory's daughter's put on. Or you tortured.
Put this.
And then the last one that I wanted to discuss tonight was our Saycog Main Street ADA improvement grants. We did talk about that last month, and we are working on the contract with our bidder. We are creating a timeline and hope that they will be here sometime in late, probably December to start with. Which, as you see, there's E Street, F Street, and H Street, and so there will be some traffic fun. But most likely because all of the work is being done on the sidewalks, there will be a 1 lane open. And so hopefully we can figure that out. One thing I wanted to add here with Saycog being amazing. And we're, they've given us the opportunity to move some money from another grant, higher level grants, so that we don't have to reduce the scope based on what the bid came in at. And so there was like a $25,000 gap. And we have creatively been working through how to fill that so that we didn't have to invest in which of these are going to get the ADA. Forgot I had Saycog Green Weeks Grow, Green Weeks Go grant on here as well. We are in contract on that. They are working on a timeline at this point for that one. That will involve it's the speaker. Probably some community meetings. Any for some reason these aren't working.
Questions from council?
Thank you.
I have one quick one. You just said, it seems like the construction timeline should conform to whatever schedule for one of the imposed projects.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, so we did need to request an extension, which was granted at the committee meeting. And I believe that is going to be greater Saycog Ford on Shenfield. But because it passed through the smaller body with some problems, we're hopeful that it we could try and finish it by the end of that timeline attached to that grant. However, we don't want to rush construction.
Yeah, just for the public's information, that's 180 days.
Yes, yep.
Okay. Then I believe we should go to public comment at this point. For item 5, any public comment from those present? Any online that you could ascertain, Mr. Anderson?
I see nothing. There is no chats asking to
All right. So with that, we'll go on to item 6, the declaration of property as surplus land or exempt surplus land under the California Surplus Land Act.
Okay, so our last special meeting, we discussed City of Ileton and all of the opportunities, we'll call them, going forward. And one of them was a discussion about possibly surplusing and trying to, if we can, sell some properties that may do us better good sold than to hold on to. So that is what this is about. Jessica can kind of take it from here because she put together a list of on exhibit, you'll see the exhibit A in there. Or the list of the properties that are considered.
Yeah, these are taken straight from what's called Parcel Plus, and that is just a search within the county system of what the city of Alton owns. And we removed everything that we think essential for city operations, as well as things that might be tied to grants that we would have to pay back if we surplus, like parks, for example. And so this is, some of them are very strange. And that they're like tiny little slivers of land along water, or tiny little slivers of land along like over by Lemos. And then others are a little more self-explanatory. The one thing on the list I did want to draw your attention to is that school. There is a school lot on there. That might be something that we strike from this like strike from exhibit A. For further discussion. It's just not something we're using, and I included the closed session.
Any questions from council?
Of course. I noticed on the exhibit A, it does not look like that dead-ended section of Custer business. So we don't technically own that as a lot, and so that's a completely different process. But if that is something that we would like to, so that was not what we were, what was kind of within the purview of today. But if that's something council would like to advise us to then return what that process would be, I think that would just be it. I would say that's separate from this.
Because it's a public street.
Because it's a street.
There's a process to.
And not a lot. Yeah, there's extra hoops that Sean would have to deal with.
I see.
Yeah.
To make it not a street again.
So road frontage is not the same. No. So those are, some of those are interesting in that they're along the water. And so there's the girl, right, yeah. So there's some questions about, there are cities that sell those and people put docks on them. And, like sometimes it's their houses on the other side of the dock, and they do that was actually part of their lot originally. And so that's kind of why they're on there is for that discussion. You know, we're not using it, but at the same time, the levy concerns is the next conversation. But that's not necessarily our concern. And that's the concern of that you might purchase a property. Exactly.
Could you repeat what you said about the school?
So I don't know why that is, I don't know why that was included as something that was owned by Ileton. And so I did want that to be a topic.
Are you talking about the park?
Nope.
The school itself.
There is part of the school that is technically on the website, and that there are errors on
The
that.
street that
Not,
goes.
not D Street, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's
Not even that.
It's not even D Street?
It's a lot. It's like part of the, it looks like part of the school. And so I think
Part of this.
I think
campus.
part of this conversation, the reason I wanted to bring this up is that this was kind of an anomaly that came up within our research. And so I would like to discern what that is.
Possibly a lot that we own that they just encroached on and built over. Which happens.
And did not, so I mean, Mandy might be able to actually give us a little more info. But it might have been part of trade and it was just never appropriately deeded.
Up the street?
No,
It's 412 Union Street is what comes up.
It's
That's technically the principal's on.
it's the person, it's the office.
I mean, it's,
That's the office.
They're expanding that?
yeah, so I think.
That's
that
412.
probably there, but I did. That was the criteria that I was looking at.
Or.
And so
could be.
I think what I would like to do is probably strike from exhibit A and put it on our list of things to
Yeah, that's the
investigate.
library.
Because I don't know if we even have time.
Or it could be that one section, next to that one house on Union, because Florida Flip, it was a bus garage.
Well, maybe.
It comes up as the library address.
Well, it's right next door, actually.
Well,
Yeah, it's another spot next to the library. And I can, yeah. It's not actually the library.
Principal's office.
I think that one is, should be removed. I think we should strike it, and I think we should start the conversation as to A, if we want to explore the streets, and B, figure out what in the world that is and why we have it as listed as much. So
I think.
we do not
Put it on
pay.
here, on that attention.
Pardon me.
I think whoever put it on there probably got the attention, I don't know.
Yeah, and sometimes there are issues to be that need to be fixed. So, yeah. I
So-
would recommend striking that.
Yeah, I think if you need implicit direction, I think council would agree that's a big course of action. Okay.
And that's good enough.
I have a quick comment. At what point do we get to see some notional valuation of these properties?
That's the next step.
That would be,
We have to decide.
we didn't want to march down there until we find out if it's the will of the council and the people to possibly
The
sell it.
problem is it's a circular argument because it would depend on the valuation, whether it's worth the trouble. For
It
example.
will always come back here. So this is the step of before we really go
Yeah.
into exploration is we decide what we think that we would potentially want to start looking at. And then we do a fair market value assessment. And then that kind of is a project that lands on John to dig into and try and get the most bang for our buck and what's valuable to sell. And what is actually saleable. A lot of things just aren't.
That's great. I'm just a little concerned about wanting to keep something at any price.
Gotcha. And realistically, if this isn't a decision to sell, this is a decision to explore sale.
It's a decision to determine if it's surplus property. So
That's true.
if we've determined it's surplus property and not needed, that's the step we're taking now. And then when we go through the process of selling, that could take forever. That could never happen. It'll be a series of probably closed session real estate negotiation items. We can always sell or not sell. But right now, value isn't really the question. It's do we need these properties for something?
Well, it seems to me you're not conducting city business on any of those properties. You're just bidding on some, is that correct?
Well,
They do some offer
yeah.
benefits, I think, and that's the question for the council is, which of these offer benefits that you wouldn't want to consider?
Can you give me one example of any of those properties you offer examples?
Public restroom.
Yeah.
So, and then the public restroom and dock, long-term, might be something that we have to close access to. Be completely honest.
For financial reasons or other reasons?
Yes, financial and money.
And monetary. Thank you.
Terry has a question on the Delta Avenue.
Delta Avenue, is that your parking lot? Yes,
That's what I was going to
And see what,
where your cars are parked?
oh yeah, there's like weird little lots right there. That one does not appear to be, in my opinion, it's like a little. Yeah,
So
it's not
the lot, that's right.
It's like right there.
There's a good chance that some of these are not sellable. They aren't going to be marketable, and we're
Right.
going to make that determination.
Debbie, this would-
That was supposed to jump. We wanted to bring it to you in like the rawest form. And then receive feedback, strike what we need to strike from exhibit A to surplus that goes on to the next. But yes, it's a weird one. A lot of these are weird and probably not so.
Hands raised.
204 A Street is
Yeah, I get
the
notification.
lot that was City purchased across the street from the Jacks. Is that,
That triangle.
do you know? I know that that's part of a bigger lot. Do you know how many parcels there are there?
2, I believe.
So,
Yeah.
and we only own one.
We own one of them. Yeah, the part that is always mowed by Jory.
Right, that's the one.
Give or take. How many feet?
Right.
So yes, yeah, that's
So-
probably the most, in my opinion, the most saleable item that we have, and that we're definitely not using it. The intent of purchase, and from my understanding, was to build a city hall there via grants. Not getting those grants anytime soon, and that seems like kind of a superfluous thing to be doing at this point in our financial picture. And I think it also could be usable, by someone wanting to develop or create a parking lot and expand how the dog works. I think that one would likely be to have the most.
That's,
One could put a
that's number.
ballroom there or something. You never know.
It sounds like a flooding one.
I think that is the parking lot.
That is the big one.
That's the municipal law.
The water,
That's that
the
by
water,
the town.
but yes,
And that is considered surplus, potentially surplus, because it's used by the school rather than.
that is accurate. It's not being realistically used for, I think, originally the idea was to, I believe. Like you all might know,
Yes.
was to create like a charging station there to draw people into Ileton. That grant is no longer something we're capable of obtaining. And so the revenue portion of, revenue generation portion of that grant, that idea is no longer viable. And so we're not making any money off of this particular lot. It is providing a service to the school, absolutely. That might be something, that we can discuss with the school.
May I ask you a question or you have? Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
So, just to make sure that there. We're talking about both the potential of sale and the potential of lease. I saw leasing coming up in the sale, but most of what's been kind of discussed is selling properties. So in an evaluation that's being done, will we be evaluating things from both?
So, yes, and I will add that lease is not a great option for the city right now because of the cash flow needs of the city. And also because that doesn't transfer really very well.
Right.
And, I mean, it is an option, but it also creates an additional layer of management for the city. So, you know, if I was to choose one or the other, I would choose sale, but if we can make money off something that won't sell, I'll also.
Yeah, I think probably to me, there are specific properties that would be great if they were leased rather than sell. And that would be that parking lot we were just discussing and the dock, but I get it with the liability on the dock. I know I'm the only one that's raw about the dock, but
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
But-
Everyone's happy to give up anything.
Right.
I do worry as it relates to the public restroom and dock, docking, I do worry about if there is hope for this city in the long run, from letting go of another dock.
Yeah.
Because we already screwed ourselves by doing that to my lovely neighbors next door who have the only access to the water in Ileton. And that was a terrible, I don't know who made it. I don't know how long ago it was. And I get it that hindsight is 20/20, so I don't mean to diss on anybody involved. But it has really screwed us over. And so that is my biggest
Get it, and I rather would have that versus a dock that's
slowly. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree. But that is, it makes me very nervous to then get rid of the one way people can get into town. That we have in what is a river town. So I visceral response.
So then I'm gonna bright side that. I'm gonna take it from like the worst thing that could possibly happen, which you have a say in, to the best thing that could possibly happen, is that someone comes in and builds a beautiful restaurant there that has good access.
Well,
I'm but you don't know the answer.
And now.
You're next to it.
The reality
That is-
is that the levy.
That goes up
not
there.
allowing-
I don't think you can build anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can dig.
The levy district.
You wouldn't be able to dig there anyway. You can't build this.
That same river road.
You won't even ask it in surplus properly.
One conversation at a time, please.
All right, so what we're doing today is saying, yeah, find out more about these properties and which ones it's worth us even talking about.
Is that what we're doing?
But you're also declaring them surplus. Doesn't mean anything will happen. We may come back and say there's nothing we can do with any of it. But to clarify what we're doing is declaring these properties surplus, less striking the school.
I wanted to
Let's
understand.
ask, oh, I was gonna ask the attorney a question. If you surplus something, can you unsurplus it later?
You could decide not to sell it, yeah.
Which is the
It's
same.
effectively the same thing.
Okay,
It was
so-
expire.
Yeah,
That's good information. Thank you for asking that. I wanted to underscore something you
You
mentioned,
don't have to carry to fruition.
Vice Mayor Pellegrini. When we think about the Isleton 10 years from now, long after my term has expired, we think about what is permanently denied for exploitation and development at that time. And I do think the dock is a gray area and it's a heavy decision to make. I think all of these decisions are like that. But I would agree that that property in particular, the potential that we probably don't want to deny to community environment. So we'll see when the time comes.
Yeah.
But I feel that way about a number of elements that are thought to be assets within the city limits. So should we go to public comment on this item?
sure.
Anyone present wishing to speak on this item?
Ruby Fowler, Main Street. I hate to see the municipal lot go away. We have a number of buildings on Main Street that are currently being developed as rental units. People are already complaining about parking. I thought that the original idea around having the municipal lot was to provide parking for residents. Overflow parking. I think that events happen on that could generate income. Such as the bike.
Essentially,
Thing that happens on, I don't know if they give us anything for that, but we could start. Figuring out ways to generate income from it. So I hate to see that go away. I think it's useful. I think even though we can't take advantage of a grant for charging stations, that doesn't mean we can't in the future. And that would be the perfect place for it. That's all. Also very interested in having a discussion down the line of surplusing or selling the F Street extension by the Maywood Air Room. I think it would help resolve a lot of ongoing issues that have occurred in the past. It would give the proprietor of the Maywood an opportunity to resolve a lot of the conflicts that are happening now. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Go ahead, please.
It'd be my personal opinion that letting go of the dock would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. And thinking 10 years forward or 5 years forward, something that's coming to the United States, primarily out of Europe, way ahead of us from a standpoint of sustainability is electric boating. And electrified boating and ability to charge your boat. You can't do it in Walnut Grove, hard to do it in a lot of other little towns up and down the Delta. You have an opportunity here. My dos centavos.
Thank you. As best you can determine, Mr. Anderson,
As far as I can tell, there are no comments online.
thank you.
Seems to be.
Then we'll move to item 7, council discussion. or
Wait,
time-
should we finish this one?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, we need either a motion or direction. Is that correct?
Either one, a motion to approve the resolution surplusing the properties minus the school property.
Right, so do you prefer a
The
motion?
attorney has a suggestion.
I would sort of trigger the process to declare these surplus if you determine that they should in fact be declared surplus. Then because we need a factual basis for each of these properties to be declared surplus, and we want that in writing, so that's something we should bring back. So at this point, I would sort of direct staff to pursue the properties you want to be pursued. And then staff can prepare the report for that property.
This council had the privilege of excerpting besides the school, any other line items in exhibit A that they
Absolutely.
feel should not belong.
And you should, yeah.
Okay, does council want to adopt that direction in its entirety of exhibit A minus the school property, or cite any other properties that you want to omit?
My preference would be to, before declaring the restrooms and dock surplus, I'm completely comfortable with looking into those. I don't feel comfortable to that. I want to see what the work that needs to Sean's point, the work that tells us why what the justification is
Right.
for that, whereas the others, it's harder for me to see that I wouldn't, but I would come back and say, oh, we shouldn't.
And that should be done for each of these properties.
Yeah.
There should be in writing the factual basis for why you're establishing what these are surplus.
So just general direction would be we come back with that justification, is that correct?
Right.
Sounds,
Except not necessary for the school product. Until further investigation.
well, we'll probably,
Yeah.
we'll probably do some
Yeah.
investigation first.
Which is totally fine, but we just wanted it to be an option if we were jumping at the bit for it. I think it's fine to say, let's dive into it a little bit more. Let's look into fair market value cost is going to probably cost us to go out and ask about that. Yeah, and so we also don't run down stuff that we don't think really would be interesting. But no, I think that that's fine. And then, we need to dig into the school anyway. There was good direction to dig into F Street. And so if we want to, yeah, there's a few direction and bring those back at the, you're comfortable with, I especially after showing some documents with them, curious as to what that would entail.
It would look like a staff report essentially.
Okay.
Per each parcel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
So if there's a direction from council for us to go back and provide some factual basis on each property, that isn't gonna really include a market value. That's just gonna discuss the facts about that property. And then, and we might do a little additional work if it's easy too.
Yeah, it might not be bad to call a realtor that specializes in sales of commercial.
Or appraiser,
property.
possibly.
Yeah, an appraiser would cost money, and but feeling out a realtor to see what the saleable might be, not a bad idea. Okay, no, that's.
Well, I think the city manager and finance director have described the direction.
Yeah.
So council
Perfect.
approves.
I do have actually just one additional question, because we didn't talk about the community center and the medical building. Those go together?
They do, it appears to be, for in numbers. That doesn't mean you can't split a lot, but they.
It's a good question. You may want to make a comment about that. Just about.
Yeah.
A lot split?
Yeah, you know about that stuff. Yeah.
We'd have to get Gary involved and, I mean, we'd be applying to ourselves to do a lot split, so it'll be easier than a public member doing a lot split. But it would have to comply with our
Right.
laws, so I'd have to see what is that property size there?
The community.
Community center.
It's only a third of an acre already? I don't know about that, yeah.
Question is also whether it's.
Yeah, and one,
Separate buildings.
yeah, there, and it's two separate buildings, and if you're gonna try to separate them, you're gonna have to do lot line adjustments as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So it's not worth.
we,
Might not be.
we'll see, yeah,
Yeah.
some factual basis of that.
All right, I believe you've been offered direction.
Yeah.
Ben?
Yep,
Thank you.
okay.
You're welcome. Thank you, council. Item 7, the council discussion over time restrictions on public comment.
Yeah, so I think we should probably just get council's consensus on how we should, I mean, you kind of opened up today with a particular speech that you're going to stick to 3 minutes. In the past, we kind of allowed 5 a little bit. I can tell you that I would say the average time is 3 minutes, pretty much everywhere you go. Otherwise, you see 2 minutes. Rarely do you see 5. And I just think this is probably a discussion for the council and public to determine where we're going to go with that, which might end up me amending some of the public comment language that's on the agenda. When we created this language that's on the agenda, I just copied and pasted what you had before. Every time we read it, I say that needs to be amended in my head. So we want to discuss this at the council level, and it shouldn't be a big discussion, but it would be nice for everyone to be on the same page.
I would set it as a certain time too, and it should be in your bylaws and stated in writing with the ability for the mayor to adjust as necessary.
But not in a case by case, like if,
Well-
I mean, we gotta be careful that you can do whatever the heck you want, honestly, as a mayor, right?
True.
But
With respect to that.
like,
Yes.
But the
For-
expectation.
for a
is you can
scenario.
Convince me.
Yeah.
To,
It should be fair and equitably, everyone should get the same amount of
I
time.
don't want to be convinced to relent regardless of the content or the situation.
as an example, let's just say you have a very confrontation or an item that's very controversial and you got 50 people in here. You might at that time say, we're going to limit total public comments to 20 minutes tonight, no matter what. So say your piece, but to just like this person that's online, you can have 5, but maybe if you want 3 or 5, that's kind of a
I'm
onesie.
uncomfortable as well. Since you
Yeah.
mentioned the end.
And I figured you
decided
would,
to
yeah.
jump in.
Yeah.
And respond.
Oh,
But point is, I'm uncomfortable with the language as it is, because I think the expectation is that if you can convince me to relent, I'll relent.
Yeah, and that's
I
the
don't
part
want
that
that
like,
in.
why do we have that? Yeah.
right. Yeah.
We can amend that.
I will
We
say
can amend that language.
that since we collaborated and under the circumstances of the previous meeting, we thought we'd try 5 minutes, and that's perfectly fine. I endorse that. I felt that was too long.
It was,
General.
seemed like it.
It seemed interminable, but 3 sometimes feels too
They wasn't
short.
even used for the most part.
But 3 is convention. I'm just pointing that out. So
Right.
if we so chose, we could split the difference and do 4 or 3:30, but I'll just let council weigh in on their preference.
What does our documentation say right now? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is, what's the easiest thing? As a supporter of 3 minutes, to be clear, what is the easiest thing? What is the least amount of work for?
There's hardly, whatever you guys decide will be done in 15 minutes. I'm just gonna change the language on the public comment to be more specific and describe what it is. And that's it. We don't have to blow up balloons or pass any ordinances or amend ordinances or anything.
Really, the only question here is what number? 3, 4?
3.
0. Oh,
No.
that's one way.
You have 4 with 3.
That's the most conventional, that's the most conventional value. Yeah. So I think your direction, did you just need direction or?
You can ask public to weigh in as well.
Yes, our public comment on the public comment item. Anyone present willing, wishing to speak?
I have 5 minutes.
So while we're on this, oh, go ahead. Yeah, I got
5
some.
minutes is a long time. A perfect example of this is the last gentleman who came and berated us for 5 minutes. 3 minutes I could stand, 5 minutes I wanted to.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is he not getting your vote for governor? I won't say the language right now because it's not on the top of my head, but I would also like to add to the public comment language or our agenda and clarify that online presence, there's no guarantee that you'll be heard because of technical issues.
For
So,
convenience.
so I'm gonna add some language to that as well. That will show up on the next agenda.
That's another
That will
condition.
clarify.
Yes, for convenience only is.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to guarantee. Pardon? It might be, but I'll make sure. If you want to guarantee that you can speak, you need to come here present.
It's in the top section where for the Zoom. Says it's provided
Oh,
as a courtesy.
I might have
for
already amended
reason.
that when I just started here.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe we highlight it, maybe we bold it.
Oh, it could be already on there,
It-
but we can also put it in the public comment section as well.
That might be an idea, is to reference if you are unable to attend, there's availability of.
Oh, on the agenda.
Of entering.
Oh, I can add that in here too. Yeah, because you can always make a comment on the agenda directly.
You mean prior to the meeting? Is that the one?
Well, in the agenda, when you click on the agenda, there is the ability to make public
Oh, I
comment there
see. Okay. Oh, right.
online, and it goes directly to.
Right.
Yeah, every
Cool.
one of those, we all get an
All right.
email.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is an action item. I don't know that it requires a motion or vote. Direction, do you think is fine?
I think direction's fine.
Okay.
Anyone online wishing to comment on this item that you know of?
Due to technical difficulties, no.
Shot, okay. You want me to stop asking?
I'll tell you if someone
That
raises their hand.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to,
So it's 3 minutes, right? Did we decide 3
Yes,
minutes
yes.
and then we'll finesse some language? Okay.
thank you. Item 8, IHPRB roles and responsibilities, discussion and possible direction to staff concerning the Isleton Historic Preservation Review Board, IHRB, including its current composition, procedures, and alignment with city policy and statutory requirements. And who would like to introduce this topic?
I think
I,
Councilmember Flores.
thank you. I asked for this item to be placed on the agenda because I believe there are aspects of the IHPRB that want discussion, clarification, and possible action. Before I go into it, I want to say that this is not an attack on the IHPRB, so let's put our weapons down, everyone. My sole intention is to clarify a few things so that we can work together in an informed and efficient. That's all I want. So,
Before we include the discussion here, if we get into the composition aspect and certain individuals are discussed, I would like to recuse myself depending on if that individual is named.
if it comes to that,
And before I do, if it comes to that, I would like to provide some background for council. Because in previous term, some of the conditions and circumstances under which this was revitalized, the Historic Review Board are relevant, germane to the current discussion. But council can weigh in first.
awesome, thank you. So, I took a look at the IHPRB page on the city website. And first item is the operational manual. I find it troubling that there is a lack of an operational manual. I think that should be the board's priority. I'm not quite sure how the board is operating without it. Aside from not having regular or special open meetings, what policies are currently in place to make sure that there are mechanisms for general and specific practices? Now, having said that, when I joined the IHPRB as a younger, starry-eyed version of myself, I was handed a pile of documents. And in that pile, as you see, I still have it, were two versions of what I consider to be an operational manual of sorts. One of them listed as updated May 2019. They both list out goals, objectives, policies, and if the current board does not have it, I am happy to hand it over for you to use as a template or just review what you have or, so I email that to you. Anything on the operational manual before I move on to the next?
The only thing I would add to that is that not knowing if there are changes that need to be in what exists already, that the IHPRB follow what we've got and while in the process of making any changes, that we don't continue to operate without a manual when there appears to be.
No?
Before we go on to different, I just want to provide background after you're finished with your comments.
Okay, so, excuse me, I'm just going down the items on the website page. So the website indicates that the board co-chairs have appointed several ad hoc committees. Now, did you have a meeting to form and approve these ad hoc committees, or you just?
I would suggest that if you wish to follow the review log up to answer your questions at the end, after background's provided in this initial discussion, feel
Okay.
free to do that, and then you can dialogue with the board.
Okay.
Until then, I think it'd be
So should I just
procedurally
go
best.
through all of it?
Yeah, go through all of it, and
Okay.
then we'll bring them up for a.
Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Second question on the ad hoc committees, if all the members are sharing an email address and therefore reading all incoming emails, what operational policy is in place to prevent Brown Act violation concerning communications and meetings? There has to be some sort of official mechanism in place. And finally, on that item, if 2 out of the 3 board members are meeting and making decisions, is that not, and I guess this might be a question for the attorney. Is that not a majority of the board and therefore a Brown Act violation within itself?
It could be, yeah.
Okay. I'll move on to board composition unless. Ad hoc committee.
That answered my question about members and if there are only 3, then 2 would.
And if you know that there are 3, then 2 would constitute a quorum. And so if they get together, then that constitutes a meeting.
Board composition. The ordinance requires the composition of the board to consist of 5 members. 1 historical society board member, 2 public members, and 2 planning commission members. I know on the web page, there's a section asking for 2 building professionals or citizens with knowledge. Is that posted anywhere else? Has the historical society been contacted? Then how do we also resolve the planning commissioner's requirement since the commission has dissolved and its duties are now satisfied by city council? There's that question. And I guess because of the Brown Act sticky business, I guess I'm just asking how long this board can last or operate effectively as a 3 board.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It can be done, but it's difficult. And you could replace the planning commissioners with city council members. That's what I would suggest in the code. You could just replace planning commissioners with city council members, then problem solved.
And that's
Technically,
not
they
a
are the-
conflict.
They are technically the planning commission, correct, right now, because there isn't planning commission.
They are, you could assign as an interim potentially, right?
Yeah.
City council members to fill those positions.
So that wouldn't be a conflict, and if something came to council having to do with voting on IHPRB business.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's-
So, yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's mostly an advisory board.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
It
as long
shouldn't-
as three of you aren't
Yeah.
part of that meeting. Two, I'm talking it through right now because first I've heard the question, so then two would come back here and the rest of the council would have to make a decision and they could disagree with the two.
It might conflict out those particular members though, because they have already made a determination as to where they land, right? On that item. They
with
have
the board.
Well, if we assign a council member to go to Brandon and something comes
Yeah,
to
there's other,
here from Brandon, that doesn't conflict them out just because they were on the board, correct? Well, I'm not technically on it. If we pick a different one.
let's pick LAFCO. Let's pick a LAFCO. A typical thing, two members from the council will be on LAFCO.
Yeah.
And they would go make a decision and this come back and the council would have to approve an expenditure to pay LAFCO. Not a conflict because they're all Brown Act qualified meetings, only two shows up. You come back and discuss it. And now the council decides.
Right.
So, LAFCO is a good example of
Right.
two members.
No,
that-
it's a good
Yeah.
example. Yeah.
So I don't know that would be, there's no planning commission. You aren't the planning commission, but you act. Actually, our city planner will act as the planning commission and so to speak, in such a way.
So the city
Then you-
planner.
Well, I don't know that he would want to.
Need a building department?
I would argue that this council should select, if we're gonna fill two spots, this council should select that one or two.
Absolutely, yeah.
Versus it just being a volunteer thing. I think that would be the thing that creates the conflict is if, someone on here was volunteering already, that could be an issue. But if this council votes, it is an extension of their duties as a council member to then assist that extension of council.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other issue. I think you mentioned that right now it is described as two members from planning commission. So we've discussed this, one from historical society and two members of the public, right?
Correct.
So if that changed, we'd have to change that anyway. Right now, are there three members of the public? There's no one's member of historical society, correct?
Not this one.
Okay, so, this would be the one that would matter.
Let's wait to get questions.
Yeah.
from Rob.
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, so we would have to, like, right now, it's already wrong. Right? Because there's not,
Starting out the gate, we're
yeah.
three members of.
So you keep going because you have a lot of moving pieces and what I'm seeing is possibly direction to change a lot of stuff. And also, I'm not sure how they can continue to function right this minute, but keep going.
Right. Okay, this is the heavy one. The COA requirement and processing. So I'm just gonna read through this because I bring up something and then I circle back to it. I know that makes no sense, but okay. So the ordinance lists the processing of a COA as the following. The building official uses a preservation checklist, which is the COA, and design guidelines to determine whether the work is major or minor, and if the proposed work is compatible with the existing surroundings. Then it goes on to say minor improvements may be approved by the building official unless otherwise determined by IHPRB, which that seems contradictory to me. The following activities are considered major and only allowed after the city, and I'm assuming the IHPRB has approved the COA. Exterior alterations of a designated historic landmark. New construction on the site of a designated historic landmark. Moving of a historic landmark. Lot split subdivision of a historic landmark. Erection, relocation of a sign in a historic district. And new construction on property in a historic district. So this list to me is problematic because 4 of the 6 activities refer to landmarks. Okay. There seems to be a long-standing debate about landmarks versus district. My research has found that a National Historic Landmark is defined as a business district, object, site, or structure that is officially recognized by the US government for its outstanding historical significance. A National Historic Landmark District may include many contributing properties that are building structures, sites, or objects, and it may also include non-contributing properties. Contributing properties may or may not also be separately listed as National Historic Landmarks or on the National Registry of Historic Places. To further spark the debate, according to the Office of Historic Preservation, no building in Ileton's Historic District or the district itself is designated a landmark. For instance, the whole of Locke Historic District is designated a national landmark. And it's listed with the OHP. However, there is a provision in our ordinance, 1.06D, that discusses automatic designation. This provision reads that any property listed in the National Register of Historic Places or the California Register of Historic Resources will automatically be designated a local historic landmark. And any neighborhood so designated will automatically be designated as a local historic district.
What?
Right.
The neighborhood.
The neighborhood.
So the whole neighborhood.
But just
So the,
kind of ignore that because
Okay.
go with our ordinance.
that's our ordinance that says this.
It's right. Let me continue.
Okay,
Ileton's National Register of Historic Places registration form, right, from 1991 lists 41 contributing and 23 non-contributing buildings within the historic district and details each in its summary.
this is a problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hang on. I'm getting to it. So by virtue of this provision in our local ordinance, every building, regardless of contributing status, listed on that 1991 form is a local historic landmark. Okay, hang on. Stay with me. So our buildings on the city level are considered only the ones that are listed on that certification are considered local historic landmarks. They're not considered historic landmarks on the state or the federal level. And that's important because that's that whole debate, landmark district. So as far as I'm concerned, now it's up to Ileton to determine whether it wishes to amend the ordinance to reflect a different approach to its buildings and its automatic designation, or to modify the COA process to make it more time efficient and beneficial to property owners and the city. That makes sense?
Thank you. I think I should step in and provide some background. First, in order to help manage this in my position as mayor, I would like to take the time, perhaps apologies in advance to the public, for you to repeat that entire presentation with interacting with the review board.
Okay.
However, the direction I would like to offer is let's make the minimum changes necessary to the ordinance to keep some functional board operating, supplemented or otherwise.
That's not part of the agenda item anyway. So. To amend ordinances yet.
Right, but I mean, you'll get some idea about a direction and a legal direction from the discussion to ensue, hopefully. I would like to say that at a different level, although I want this to go to the detail level, speaking, trying to help manage the meeting. I want to take that time. I want to say that the way that I gauge the effectiveness of this innovation, where the chair of the planning commission passed, there were procedural problems and individual contributor problems with the planning commission. They became bereft of a quorum, they couldn't meet. And so responsibilities were reallocated, and then any volunteers who were considered to have enjoyed the confidence of the council at that time were then conscripted, and then this created the new composition. But the metrics that I wanted to understand, which I was able to receive about a year ago, were how many COAs in a given amount of time were issued, and how many projects were moved forward on Main Street, and what was the level of interaction with the State Office of Historic Preservation, the California Preservation Society, other cities that offered assistance to Ileton in helping manage the historic district. And the answers that I received at that time were satisfactory, because prior to that, as a member of the public, I had observed the original review board, which you may or may not have been participating, and they would seldom issue a COA, but they came out blazing to issue a $14,000 fine to one of the businesses on Main Street. Now I've kind of softened on that criticism since then, because I do believe in the value of enforcement and compliance once you understand that clearly. And apropos to Vice Mayor Pellegrini's concern about denying the future Ileton its best and most valuable assets that require cultivation, I want to see the historic district survive, even though there's some debate about whether that will ever pay off. But I'm hoping, you know, when you look at the, you know, number of assets that you can sort of enumerate for Ileton, that's certainly one of them. And from the outside, from other elected officials that I've encountered in other agencies, that is considered to be a major asset. And it's one of the reasons that Ileton punches above its weight when it comes to exposure and investment from other agencies. So I would be inclined to, you know, advocate preserving that in the best fashion possible, but also receiving metrics periodically about performance along the lines of what I just described. So, Councilmember Suarez, if you would care to go back through your presentation and interact with the board itself,
Sure.
that would be helpful to me.
I will also say, like you, I support the historic preservation. I do. I see it bring people in. It does. People come here because it's a historic town. I mean, they do. So I do support the IHPRB, and I think it's important. I do. So does someone?
Any other remarks from council? Otherwise, I think we should officially bring up the, anyone else want to weigh in? Okay, shall we?
I will weigh in after we finish this conversation. I do have some thoughts, but I would prefer to follow them after we come through.
We'll make sure we hear from the vice mayor with the discussion.
Mayor Kent, are you suggesting actually not necessarily going through the whole thing, but asking the questions that were in there? Is that what you're?
Yes, so
Okay.
that each item is addressed in conversation with the review board.
Because,
Spokes,
okay,
who is going to be the spokespersons today for the review board?
All of us.
All?
No, we will all. We all have a question. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have that.
Podium or just
Yeah,
informal?
think that no different things that the other one.
All right, Councilmember Suarez, it's at your discretion.
Okay, so the first thing was the operational manual. I just wanted to know how you're operating without, like how are you?
Yeah.
One of the first things we did when we were first appointed about 2 weeks ago, Paul and I, and then John joined us sometimes later, is this reading these ordinances, understand what they were making changes, and you're reading, by the way, an obsolete ordinance. We changed the composition of the board. That's one of the first actions we took, because we thought that's not right. You also read a paragraph about automatic designations. We already had our entire ordinance reviewed by the National Park Service, and they asked us to strike that, and they did. That was stricken by our prior attorney. So you're reading out of date.
So did we change the ordinance?
They did.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
When,
That was back in 2022.
2 or 3. Again, so.
Jeff Mitchell.
The city changed the ordinance,
Yeah.
not, okay.
So we had a talk.
that's
we
what was it
And
actually
we-
changed?
discussed these
Yes.
When you
changes.
say we, do you mean
Yes.
the IHPRB or the city?
Paul and I, the chief co-chair.
That doesn't change an ordinance though.
Yeah, you have to have that reviewed by council.
The ordinance
Can you
hasn't,
please let us finish? Can I finish?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
Mayor,
we've.
I need to interrupt for just a minute. In order for, because this is gonna be a heavy lift on staff.
Yeah.
There needs to be some good clarification. So there is gonna be some, when someone answers a question, there might be a clarifying question just to get it over with. So no one's interrupting anyone, but the proper way to communicate this is a back and forth. If you have a question, it's okay to pause to get a clarifying question, like our attorney is asking. Was the ordinance passed with the council? If not, it's not an ordinance. So we have to address that.
Yes, I'm
Okay, so I
advocating,
just
I'm
wanna-
advocating we do real work and have a robust discussion, which is unusual for a public session.
Yeah.
But I'm advocating that we take
Yeah.
the time to do that. So
Okay.
that's compatible.
And may I add that we came in here not knowing, except for what was listed on the agenda as agenda item 8, what we were going to be discussing. So we are kind of, I mean, for lack of a better word, we're feeling a little ambushed, just a little.
okay.
But at the same time, we're totally, and I will speak for, my two co-chairs. We are completely up for trying to figure out this problem because we've been addressing it. We inherited it.
Oh, I know you
Right?
did.
And we've been we try to deal with this with the city attorney under, the city manager, Obiawe. And we also addressed this with Rebecca before she left. And so we were in the middle of that and the conversations stalled. We have emails proving all of them. Again, a lot has gone to, under the bridge. We can try to bring that back and talk about it, and we want to talk about it because, we want to sort this out with you. But we just, we're kind of like deers in the headlight right now. We don't really have
In
snappy.
fairness of what Mr. Kennedy called for, I'd like to interrupt
Yes,
without apology.
yes.
I will commend all of your professionalism to give an account, unprepared or not,
Yes.
for what you naturally do. And the other item that I want to emphasize is you're addressing council directly. We're taking the time of the formal city's business to try and understand this as Council Member Suarez has
Wonderful.
aptly inquired. So now is the time.
Beautiful.
So and some of these questions are actually kind of easy questions to answer, like the composition, supposed to be two planning, historical to member, and Lori said that it's been changed. So I would like to know, I'm just making some notes here. If you don't mind, I'd like to know what has been changed to, and it probably hasn't technically been changed the official way, but like, what is it meant to be? What's,
Staff at the time brought the changes to council, which council approved, and we were told that the ordinance had been updated legally and properly with the 2 hearings and the whole process that you were referring to. And that got changed. Then we had some other changes, which Elena referred to later, that Rebecca reported only got read once, and then the staff just lost track and failed to follow through.
I think there are other
That's-
allegations.
Owen Phil, let's answer the
Yeah.
first question.
Don't think-
What's the composition of the board? And no, what she was working on is nothing to do with this. Composition of the board, what's it supposed to be that under your best understanding?
Said 5 members, either own property or reside in California, 18 years and older. I have a copy of it somewhere. It's on my computer at home. And all the stuff about there was no more historical society, there was no more planning commission, so we took out all of that. It's just they're
Just 5 members.
by the council. And we were all voted on and appointed by the city council, and we report to the city council. 5 members is a quorum. They're full board.
Okay, so to the best of your knowledge and maybe it was approved, just 5 members, they just have to live in California
18, yeah.
or own property in California.
And I totally get it if you can't remember, because you probably haven't looked at it for a while, but just in California, none of them needed to live in, I don't think.
No. We took out that
That was advocated by council at the time as a background because we couldn't fill any of these positions, planning commission or otherwise, unless we expand.
And additionally, we're part of the Delta Protection District, we're part of the broader community here. Paul lives in Oxford, they're very closely related to Isleton.
Sure.
He lives in Walnut Grove, they couldn't be on the board if they had the Isleton residents.
Yeah, if I may, I don't mean to say that all 5 members should have to live in the city of Ileton, and just not having any members that live within the ability to not have any members that live within the district seems like we might have gone a little too far. That's all.
Well, the council still appoints the members, and so the council could select whoever they see fit. Can I ask, do you remember term of each of you? Do you guys?
We took out the 8-year term, there was an 8-year term limit previously,
Yeah.
but I think we.
Took
it
it
out.
out. I just mean, are you guys seated for like 2 years? or
Oh,
one?
2 years, and every July, we're supposed to kind of vote again and reselect the chair for chairs. It's just the chair and vice chair technically, but we voted with Pamela at the time just to be co-chairs because we wanted equally sharing the responsibility for this was so small.
So Councilmember Bullihan, you were on the IHPRB?
I was an inaugural member, me and Chip Boswell, because we were on the stakeholders committee that.
But you
started
were also on the board, right? Were
I
you,
was for a bit, yeah.
were you representing the Historical Society? Is that why?
At the time, and then, but then Historical Society became Museum Board. Right.
Okay.
So there's technically no
I
historical.
was just wondering, you were on, but then you're off. Why were you
Yeah.
off? After the change of the composition or something? or-
Oh, I don't know, it just only turned out.
But it sounds like that you got
Okay.
rid of term, so I moved.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so the composition,
we'll look into that.
it's
Yeah.
taken care of.
I have a
Right.
follow-up question though, before you
Yeah.
continue. Do you remember on or about when prior council passed your resolution?
It was, but you came in on April.
2024.
It would have been in 2020. Was it 2023?
This is February of 24,
Thank you.
February of 24.
Thank you. Please continue.
Yep.
Councilman.
Okay, so that's taken care of. Thank you for clarifying.
Can I say just a couple things that might clear up some of the
Sure.
So, we have been, working with John to get our website updated, but there was some other city issues that were more important. So that hasn't taken place.
Okay.
Then we have a change in the attorneys 3 times, so that's taken place. And as well as keeping city up and running. So when we stepped on the gas and when we let off the gas was based on where the city was at the time.
Right.
You
Of
know.
course. That's where we
If
all
the
are.
city's since the work they're to make, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, we're trying to be the best use of the time. We can't do the meetings and announce the meetings unless we have a website to announce the meetings and post them on the post office, right? So we've got to get a lot of things clicking. They have to happen all at once. I know that Karen asked for some clarification on some wording. John and her were going to meet. There was a power accident and he was getting up and he couldn't get here. And we've just been chips missing in the night. So actually, we kind of appreciate you putting it on the agenda because these are things we wanted to bring up, but we didn't also want to stop that. Hey, what's going to happen in SCORE? What's going to happen with the county? There are other things that are way more important than this.
Sure.
And in the meantime, we also had a COA procedure that we worked out. Nate was here when we did that with the prior city manager. And we revised it. And we wanted to get together to go over that again, so everybody knew it. And we've actually been acting on that COA in the manner it's always been done, but we digitized it. We have a flow, you know, if it goes here and it's no, then it's gotta go here, you know. And we've got it all worked out and we want to present that, but again, was it the right time based on where the city was? Right at the time we already had it done. No, it was not.
I wanted to just challenge one thing. I believe that if you have a public meeting, you don't need online presses necessarily. You can just post special meetings, right?
Well, that goes back
No one
to,
really wanted to hear what you're really supposed to do. Yeah, you're set up to have meetings. There's nothing stopping you.
Okay.
Well, we got challenged.
You got challenged by someone who doesn't know what he's talking about. We determined that.
We stopped that meeting because we didn't want the city to get in trouble.
What- yeah,
And then
you would have been fine.
Rebecca's left, so we haven't had any more conversation.
I'm gonna declare that.
Just wanna
with
get
council-
compliant.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
That's why we still
Any
have
former impediments end here and pending the proper structure and procedures.
yeah,
Perfect.
We
Thank
would
you,
like
thank you.
to follow the Brown Act rule, but the best practice is that you post it in the 3 locations in town and on your website. We don't have the ability to put anything on the website. Mr. Kennedy offered to help keep John
It's-
involved.
yeah.
So we can post it ourselves. We have not been able to hold meetings since July, because that was made in July, and I guess we've tried contacting you by email, calls multiple times.
No,
and we
you're-
Still haven't gotten
you're-
together,
you're all, I don't,
But we're
No.
waiting on you.
I think that's.
But does that, okay, so
Fine.
my question is legally, if they do not post it on the website, but they post it in the other 3 places, physically post it,
I think they're fine.
does
officially,
that prevent them from?
so officially, if you have a website, you're supposed to.
Okay.
IHPRB doesn't necessarily have a website,
Right.
but they're linked to the city.
Right.
However, our website, 4 days after this came up, is all set up and linked for, set up for agendas posting. It's already there.
Right.
And we just, and in fact, if you had an agenda, you could just send it to me and I'll put it together, but I could teach you how to use the software to create
Yeah.
agendas.
Yeah.
And I don't remember anyone contact me wanting to have a tutelage. Yeah.
How to do that.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, someone will just have to come in one day, I'm here and I
All right,
can,
well, that helps.
We'll get it on the.
Yes.
We'll get it on.
Is
But-
that in the meantime.
Yeah.
All you need to do is send it to John. And
Yeah.
then once.
Yeah.
but not a Friday before the
Yeah,
meeting.
right, yeah.
Time in advance needs to be sent. So it sounds like that barrier is gone.
It is, has been.
Good, then it helps you. That's-
But that, there's more Brown Act
There's-
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Let's proceed.
definitely more Brown Act, so. My understanding as, for example, 16 Main. Ad hoc committees, again, we go back to, there's 3 of you, if 2 of you are working on something, that is a Brown Act
no, it's
violation.
not, actually.
It is.
We went, excuse me, I want to say what we've been told in the past first, please. You had your chance, please allow us to respond. Thank you. Both Jeff Mitchell and Rebecca Magico said that because your board is a 5-member board, even if you're lacking all 5 members, 2 is not a quorum, 3 is a quorum. So we've gone on that legal advice since we started. And that was what 2 attorneys have told us all along, and we've been very careful not to cross that line. And we also ran by with Rebecca. John and I met with her we're the legal committee. A long meeting with her. I have several emails where we said, yeah, we found that either a chair can appoint an ad hoc committee or an entire board can. We just have the chair appoint ad hoc committees. That's the only way we can even function at this point. We're still seeking 2 more members, but because of all the upheaval and misunderstandings and alligators and whatnot, you know, we haven't been able to bring in, being close to getting 2 more members who are interested in trying to make up 5. Meanwhile, as 3, we divide up into, and if there's anything to vote on, we have a special meeting that if we all have to get together, and we all want to get together to write the guidelines, and which the passport existed for a decade and never got that written, never got that done. We're trying desperately to get all of these things done. It's been our priority. But again, yeah, we were blocked from the meetings. We, get people coming in saying, you can't have meeting, you can't meet. And so we just split up in groups of 2. A COA process, only 1 member has to sign the COA. It doesn't need a vote from our board to pass COA. There's nothing in the ordinance. We're
So
going
does
off
that
the
one,
ordinance.
just a question.
Okay.
COA, you're saying 1 board member has to sign it. So is that the only person who's going to be working on that?
We've been working in groups of 2 depending on the property.
If you,
So how do you determine which 2 are gonna be working on what if you're not talking to each
The
other?
chair determines who the ad hoc committee is for the specific task. at hand.
Yes.
So 16 Main, for instance.
Yeah,
that gentleman, you know, I went through the process and I worked on that along with my co-chair, my chair here. And it was really only the two of us. And then, you know, Paul knew nothing. Exactly.
So
We just made
He
that
knew the
decision and
topic.
he knew the topic, but he wasn't
We're
involved
gonna
in any
have
of the
one.
conversation.
So going forward, our
If-
attorney is going to
yeah.
describe how you're supposed to do it.
If you know you have 3 members, then that means that 2 of those members could vote in the affirmative for that piece, right?
You know, what's
No, we
interesting,
need a majority of 3 to get anything past the these.
Right, so you would need 2. You know, 2 of the 3 would have to pass the a motion, whatever it was, right? So if you have 2 people meeting prior to the item being considered in a public meeting, then you're coming to a consensus potentially, or determining how you would vote on that particular item before it made it to the body.
None of the
for
issues
consideration.
that we divide into ad hoc are voting issues.
yeah, they're not, I mean,
It doesn't need to be a voting issue. It can be just to deliberate anything within your jurisdiction, which you can discuss, deliberate, what have you. It doesn't have to be a vote. It doesn't have to be something you decide on. Discussion and deliberation are included.
Well, we have to with the lawyers then, because
Yeah.
we met with Rebecca, we met with Jeff, and they said, we're only meeting 2 of you, because 3 would be a quorum. They
Jeff,
set those.
what they
votes
said.
up.
the old part.
So Jeff didn't meet with Rebecca, right?
No.
I'd like to point out that
Nobody's wrong from my perspective, because realistically, the problem is that you are not effectively a 5-person board, and you are also not a city council. City council is required to be a 5-person.
Yeah.
The quorum of 3 people is in law, it's an ordinance. Yours is a little different, it's a little more creative, and you've been operating with 3. And so if city council was operating with 3, we would be in big trouble with different authorities for this very reason, for this very argument.
yes.
And so I think where everybody's at disconnect is you're operating at 3, and so while the advice you received is not necessarily wrong, it is in practice not great, because right now you are a 3. You've been a 3 for how many years? And so is it appropriate to call you a board of 5 versus a board of 3? So I think it is, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think anyone's wrong. I think it's just, you're not a city council, you're not required to be this 5. You could slip down to a 3, and because you can slip down to a 3.
And
We don't
and
even,
it's also because you know it's 3.
and we,
Right.
No, it's.
and do we even know if you're not supposed to be 5? We don't know that.
It's according to.
Well,
Yeah.
our ordinance.
Right, so you still may have to be 5, and then there's a whole other conversation.
Right.
Well, may I interject and say, the way I understand, IHPRB is that we are an advisory board to basically steer new owners and owners that are trying to make changes on properties within the historic district and give them the guidance not to stray from the basic tenets of OHP and of the National Park Service, which has these rules.
Lots.
And and recommendations, their recommendations.
Yeah.
And so that's what we try to do, okay? We're not here to kind of deny people or make that ruling, but we're trying to guide it. If that person that, let's say, comes to us and says, well, I don't agree with, the fact that you're not approving me, they have the right to bring it to city council, and there are people here that can vote on that. We are not a voting body. We
But it's-
basically don't have any ability to vote.
That's counter to my understanding. I think you do vote on certain things that come before you, right? You're not just a recommendation body.
That's what we understand this ourselves will be.
No.
We don't have any power.
Throw out a clarifying question
Just take
here.
that, I call that, no.
We have recently
There you go.
been,
So,
one of the owners on Main Street has recently reached out to the council because this owner thinks you are an approving body and thinks you approved things for their property, and doesn't understand why building inspector or city manager need to be involved. So that is part of the concern here, is that even if the 3 of you understand what you're doing, it isn't necessarily true that all of the owners on Main Street that you are interacting with understand it that way. They think, at least some do, that you are approving things. So somewhere there is a misstep, and that I personally think has to do with when and how the city manager and building inspector are or are not being included in the communication. So that I will say full stop is a big concern.
And I'd like to also challenge a couple of things.
Yes.
One, a legal opinion is an expert opinion. It is also a current opinion, and it's still an opinion. You're lucky to get one.
Yeah.
In some councils, many of the questions that are posed to council are returned with, we don't know, or that's a gray area. We're lucky to hear some declarative statements about legality. Whoever your city attorney is in session like this, that's the going opinion. So that's the advice you should follow. In addition, for me, whatever procedure or approach you want to take with the public, that's a matter of style and a matter of recommended representation of the city to the owners. But your work product is a COA. That's all we care about. Was it issued properly, procedurally, and does it move projects forward for the owners? So everything else is commendable perhaps, or may need some adjustment, but that's the metric that I'm looking at.
And to help better clarify Vice Mayor Pellegrini's comments, this particular owner was under the impression, I mean, he came in and got building permits for doing work that's unrelated to the COA stuff, demolition, wiring, plumbing, everything, nothing that has to do with you. He was under the impression that because him describing his business, which was a educational facility or whatever.
So
He was under the impression that that was an approved business because of the conversations with you folks. Perception is reality. He never had that conversation with us. And I do know that you guys went far beyond helping him. You even provided some sketches of stuff that, whatever you want. But he was under the impression when he came in here, he was shocked that he had to apply for a conditional use permit to have an educational facility. And he wanted to meet with the council and say, no, I don't want that because I was already told that I was fine with my business. So we just have to be careful with that. The COA, like Mayor Kent said, your task is COA, period, nothing else. You can do some other stuff, but there's nothing else that is under your authority. However, from what you read, I'm still wondering about the COA and what buildings are supposed to be because of landmarks and all that. So I'm going to guess we're going to get there.
Yeah,
We're gonna get
so we can get there next. So we're clear on the Brown Act. We're not clear on the Brown Act.
I would love to hear it one more time.
Okay.
Can two people talk about this? Is it three?
No.
Me and myself and
I would advise you no.
Okay.
And you can have meetings as you should in public, right? Ad hocs are the exception. They shouldn't be the norm. You shouldn't be having special meetings and ad hocs to fulfill what a public general meeting would.
As of right now, you have to treat this board as a 3-member board, which is very difficult because you cannot share an email address.
We'll get to that.
I have one email
We'll
address.
get to that momentarily.
Well, that's part of the Brown Act
I
violation.
understand, but what I would like to say is we could issue direction to expedite supplementing this board 5 members using the council mechanism so that they can restore operation.
Yes, I
That's
think
ideal.
That's a good one. I think also another point of clarification might be ad hoc committees, as you have described them, are not ad hoc. They're
Right,
standing
right.
committees, which
No, they're
is,
not, no. But
okay.
so I know what they are, they're temporary.
Yes, they
committees
are.
For a certain specific task. We were ad hoc for 16 Mainstay Way.
Correct.
We're dissolved, we're done. We were an ad hoc committee to write up, I think, the flow chart or something. We did the flow chart, we were done. We were doing it exactly according to the definition of an ad hoc.
Well, I think we need a
We
legal
don't keep
opinion.
one standing, we break up and we do one small
it-
task.
Is that about it?
An ad hoc is a finite duration and is subject specific. Yeah,
Thank you.
it
We've
is.
been doing the same task, but with different, would the change in the building like, so if they were approving the COA. And
Same
approving the
function.
COA, the same function, but the building change, would that?
No, a
be an
COA is always advisory. It is never making a decision. on
Okay, so
anything.
they can create an ad hoc for each individual building.
For each.
Or
In
is
other
it-
words, is what-
See, like,
I've
they're.
never seen it done that way. That's
Then
very
then they would have to have a meeting.
So,
You just didn't know, actually. So, like,
so same task,
Yeah.
just
the
different
same task,
project.
different buildings, is that okay? That they create a different ad hoc.
Same
committee
task,
for every
different
building, but
projects.
it's the same task.
It needs to be specific to the actual, to that activity.
It's a
So if they were specific and named it, then they could do that.
So different project, they can.
Right, they could.
So by
Yeah.
address, so for instance, if it's by an address. And the addresses are next door to each other, which we have
Which
that
is
situation,
happening,
okay?
right.
We actually have 3 projects that are next to each other with 2 separate owners.
Hmm.
That's confusing. Because 18 and 20 are the same owner.
Right,
16 is the owner you're talking about, right?
yes.
Okay, so. That is she and I,
Mhm.
and that is done.
We finally signed off on this
And-
in October.
And you're not supposed to be making determinations as to a project before it comes before the body itself. The purpose of the ad hoc is
Our
not to
role-
make determinations.
Our role as just. We sort of see the COA as a checklist, as an intake, okay? The person comes to the doctor, the person at the desk says, fill this out, that's what we're asking, okay?
Yeah.
And then we go through and we say like, okay, where are the lines in this project? And what can we do to guide this according to what we're supposed to be taking care of, which is the facade and making determinations.
That's
It's
generally performed by staff because an item that comes before you as a body, you should not have predetermined, nor have said what you would agree and not agree to.
Okay,
The
but
item
it
comes
does say-
before the body and then you vote on it.
Okay.
That's the way it works as a body, in public, before the public. It's not done behind, the point of the Brown Act is to avoid secret meetings. If you're having meetings outside of the public, that is what exactly the Brown Act is meant to address.
So how do you?
You just do that in public, just have.
Just,
meetings.
just as we are now, that it would be much easier for all of us to meet in private and come to conclusions on
So
things.
then we're, let's say the public situation here and
Yeah.
the person from 16 comes in and goes, hi, I want to open up this thing that I have the word academy attached to.
Right.
Okay,
They would
and
have-
we have to go like, okay. Look that up quick, because this might be a contributing building. We have to do that, okay? We find out that, we have to go through all of the checklist with the public?
No,
Is that-
you would do it there would be a staff member that would do that work.
Okay, so staff
If you
would be,
don't-
really?
They are.
So that's
Right,
the.
you can't, you can't be both the staff and the decider.
Yeah.
No, I
It's not-
understand that, and right here in this part of the ordinance right here, which is. From 8/17/010. Number 3, B3.
Mhm.
It does say the board shall review all applications for certificates of appropriateness. This is the board we're talking about.
Okay,
And determine whether the board or the building official should rule on that.
right, the
It's-
board as a body,
Right,
not
we're-
you as an individual.
But it does say that we are here to determine.
Sure, as a body,
The
and
board.
just as we are a city,
Okay,
we are not individual members.
okay,
We are a body that
understand.
represents the city,
yes,
right?
we are, yeah.
Right. So you cannot act individually, you cannot,
So they cannot approve a COA individually.
and is why you cannot meet two with each other, because you could act jointly. Two of you could get together and say, we think this is a project that's a good idea. We think we should vote this way. And then come to a public meeting and then move that forward and make that decision. Right? That's what the Brown Act is meant to avoid. So that those conversations are in a staff report brought before the public. Then it comes before the body. It's presented, staff presents, then there's public comment, then you decide. It's laborious, it can be onerous. This is how we operate in California and the United States.
Let me help actually clarify something too. Laura, you did mention, which is something that is widely kind of understood, that if it's 5-member board, then it takes, if you only have 3 left, it takes a majority. It takes all 3 votes. So you mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. However, in this case, it's no longer that. You are acting as a 3-member board, so you only need a majority of the quorum now, which is 3, or a majority of the board. So you only need 2. If you had 3 and you 2 were do the ad hoc for 16 and you guys agreed and he didn't, you would win. You would pass, which yes, you would.
Depends on what the item is, but
Yeah.
Right. And that item would, because it wouldn't be a resolution. It wouldn't be anything that.
a motion
That-
would pass. A
So
resolution
the motion would
necessary.
pass, which means he didn't have a say in this. And you two were talking about it before. So that's why those things exist. So going forward, we need to do it.
So you're gonna take the strictest interpretation of the Brown Act so that the public gets less service from us, only one of us at a time.
We're trying.
Brown Act is meant
No,
to be-
we're trying to not violate the law.
And the Brown Act is meant to be liberally construed, meaning if you are challenged on this and it comes before a court, the court is going to take a liberal construction of the Brown Act. It is not going to take it really circumscribed to your benefit, right? Verbatim, explicitly. It will expand it
I'm
to the
just saying,
purpose.
The other 2 attorneys said something different, which is why I
Right.
did this.
Sure,
so
fair
we
enough.
can Operate and serve the.
Sure.
public.
This is why.
And go
That's why it's.
Sure.
as teams.
It's a new day,
Can I finish?
please.
So we could go as teams to give the best possible service and the quickest service
Yeah.
to each person who's here, to save them money, to save them
Right.
time, to help them. So you're saying only one of us can go and do all of that.
As currently constructed, yeah.
And then we have to have a meeting to. have
Which is why you
this-
generally don't see a 3-member board.
So, and then we have to meet at a special meeting to approve the COA. That one of us brings-
Or regular.
Well, the way that's
Could be
written,
special
yes,
order.
but that should change because that doesn't help the public.
It could be
Yeah.
a special or a regular, but yeah.
It would have to be a meeting.
A meeting, a public meeting that
A
was
regular meeting or?
It
noticed.
could-
Either way,
Either way.
it's noticed. The public is aware of it because
So they
you,
can come, you know.
the public owns these bodies.
Yeah.
Right? It's not us that own them. It's the public. They need to be given notice so that they can show up and give their opinion on it. And then you get to decide. They don't get to decide. They just get a say, right? You consider that what they say and then you move on.
Would the ad hoc committee, with respect to a COA, be put on the agenda for the city council to take a recommendation? At a public meeting?
Can I help with this for a minute?
Sure.
We should right now, until there's 5, eliminate the term ad hoc committee. Right now. In fact, as I'm thinking this through, someone should choose one person who will address any applicant for a COA, and only that person will talk to that applicant and not the others. And then when that person is satisfied that they're going to satisfy the COA, do a special meeting. You only need 24 hours notice. Let us know. We publicize it. You can have the meeting here or wherever it is. And then you have the meeting quickly. It wouldn't really, and then the 3 of you talk about it, whoever it is that is wanting to issue the COA presents it. Yes, no, and then it's done appropriately.
And does that mean before you can staff them up to 5 members, they can continue to operate on that basis?
And that basis, unless he's going to tell me no, I think that's, as of right now, that's probably the best way to do it. Not 2, just 1. And you definitely, yeah.
And I would urge you to constitute a 5-member body as soon as possible because it avoids these problems and then you could.
Is that our responsibility to constitute 5?
No, we'll take care
No,
of
it is not.
Okay,
No.
good. All right.
Yes.
One other thing though, if you do that, the 3 of you do share an email right now. So let's say that one person IHPR, let's say you're taking on 16
Yeah.
and you're communicating with that person with the IHPRB email.
Yeah.
Those 2 can read that.
I understand.
No good.
Yeah, I mean, we
So
went for
each-
individual, we fought tooth and nail just to get an IHPRB email trustable, right? Before your
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
It was a knockdown, dragged out fight to try to get that. We got one. That's where we
Okay.
stand at this moment.
All I'm saying is
We could have
each of you need to,
1, 2, 3.
to email separately.
Yeah.
I mean,
You mean?
yeah, I mean,
But wait a minute, I want to
so-
ask the attorney this one. If we can all see the communication that comes in and requests to come into IHPRB, as long as we don't discuss it among ourselves, as long as only one of us replies, that's not a violation in my understanding. It only becomes.
It's
absurd
dangerous.
being
It's very
communication.
dangerous. Sorry, go ahead.
If we all start talking about it together, responding, if only one does, it's like if I send an email to all 5 council members,
True.
as long as they don't all answer, then there's
It's-
no violation.
Yeah, that's
No-
true, but it's difficult.
no. If they all shared the same email, that would, that's not even, that doesn't, You have to,
Tricky.
It gets amazingly tricky and there's serial. And there's, well,
Sorry, go ahead, please.
I wanted to hear his answer.
His answer.
Everyone's
Sorry.
talking.
it becomes
Excited.
dangerous because you could share the email and it could be a serial communication where it goes from one person to the next. And relays from, it goes. There's different kinds of violations. It can be a spoke where you're communicating to each person, or it can be serial where it's sort of linear, where it's going from one person to the next, and you're coming to a conclusion. So generally how we've always done it is you blind copy and you don't ever respond to the group. You don't just, because that would constitute a discussion. So you hear that.
Opening yourself up for liability by all having that, because you can't prove that one of you is the one responding. And so if there was a complaint lodged against you, you would think that it was just you who were doing the communicating and they were.
Now, one way
It's
to
certainly
replace-
not the safe or prudent approach. An attorney would not recommend that you have a joint.
One way to replace the effectiveness of the email address is to put the chair or co-chairs as members of this board on the website, and then anybody that wants to can contact those members just like they do with council members. Is that correct?
I guess, all I'm saying is the three of you can't share an email.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying to.
So how,
Well,
yeah,
I'm asking that in order to replace that, you can just show on the website who the chairs are, and then the public needing to contact them can do that just like they do. with
as
council.
long as there's only one person accessing that email address.
Correct.
And
That's
then-
what I'm saying.
And can I also say one other thing? So with respect to 16, right? So the way that it worked, it sometimes works is that that person who's got the property goes to the building department, and all of a sudden now the building inspector knows somebody is bought a place on Main Street, and they direct them to us, right? So and that's how it's supposed to be, and that's what shows in the flow chart, okay? And that's how they learn about the COA. So, during the course of the initial discussion, I have copied you. I have copied all of you. I have copied and have direct relationships or, one-on-one emails with Nate, building Nate, not clerk Nate. And I've talked to clerk Nate. But my point is, am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am allowed to do
Yeah.
that.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You're
not-
a part of your voting. Okay, so I want to revisit what Paul was requesting. Basically, are you asking if you can delegate the COA vote to council so that it's more on a regular monthly basis?
Yeah, and we could come with a staff report, just like, it's on the agenda. And we said they met all these requirements and they didn't, and then you decide, you take the vote,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, so at that point, you're no longer a voting body. Are you allowed to still operate in your current function? Not allowed. Does it have to be a governmental committee? Can it be a nonprofit committee who does that?
Oh, that's,
I'm changing.
yeah, that's a,
Yeah, you're thinking outside the box.
Because this is a headache, is there the availability to change the structure, create a nonprofit? You guys are a nonprofit. This becomes the voting body. They no longer have to meet. They no longer have to worry about the Brown Act. They're a nonprofit committee who handles
so the question is, does the feds, whoever
Is that
crowned,
the crown? Yeah. Does that handle the liability issues with or whatever it is with the heritage?
That would be a question
for.
when this whole thing came up.
Governing.
I asked Jeff Mitchell, the original attorney, that exact question. And all he would do was keep quoting the Brown Act, and he absolutely did not give us any advice.
No guidance.
We've received.
And-
I personally, if I may.
No,
No.
absolutely.
And-
That's a great question.
I think that would be a question for, like, say, the Office of Historic Preservation.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're.
Because they're the governing
we should have a
body.
Meeting with them within the next 2
Yeah, we actually have a meeting.
We've had communication.
who does?
Right.
OHP, we have been talking about that meeting with OHP,
Who-
some guidance.
Okay, when are you guys meeting?
He's
Oh,
doing that.
who is?
They're in a.
Just Paul?
statewide thing this week. And so they said they get back to me.
Okay,
It's only.
Otherwise, you go to 5, and we can still work in groups of 2. We can restore our
Yeah.
ad hoc way of just managing things for the benefit of the public.
Yeah, and we're dividing and conquering too, because it's a lot of work, you know, a lot of work.
Well, if you were, yeah.
What's, yeah, I'm not sure I'm clear on the proposition here, and generally, if you reconstitute the body, but it serves the same purpose, you generally can't skirt the rules, right? If the purpose is to avoid the rules, just right, just like an agreement is an agreement, right? It's not,
This becomes the
the
vote.
title doesn't make it a thing.
Yeah, you're in the vote.
Yeah, they become staff about
We
it.
advise.
And this, the voting body shifts from their entity to this entity, which is realistically the planning commission as well. And so it's almost shifting all of that onus to this body. And they are now staff that prepares the reports.
This is a bit of an idea. It's a bit of an echo of what I brought up months ago.
Yes.
About having a planning commission
Yeah.
that this body reported into because Main Street is just one part of the city and.
And we wanted.
I would have to
about
look at that, that's not something.
What is
Okay,
it?
Now, John shot it down. pretty
Yeah,
effectively.
okay.
Is it the OHP? Is that the right?
Office of Historic.
That's who said,
Right, that's your,
that's who crowned us with a.
That is the national.
And the Fed is.
Okay.
Parks Service.
So there's some rule in there, because I looked this up and I only spent, there's some rule in there as to what is required as the governing body, and I'm pretty sure they said the council can't be. So I don't, so we need to just check that to see if it's okay to be a nonprofit, if it's okay to be but if it's, I kind of doubt that it would be, if it's. But we could check that. However, a nonprofit, I'm surprised Jessica actually mentioned that, because that's more work than what you're doing. The,
I don't.
yeah,
I mean, there's no money flowing through it.
We're all.
still got to file taxes and, okay, all right.
Can you move
Yeah,
on
so
to the
thank you
next
for bringing
item
this up
soon?
because we've been trying to get here. We've already gone 4,000 miles ahead.
Doing it for
2 years.
Councilmember Suarez, can we move on to the next item?
So the next item had to do with the COA and the processing and the whole landmark versus district thing. And even though Ileton does not have any no historic landmarks, our own ordinance discusses this automatic designation.
Right, so
Yeah,
this is what-
that is no longer there.
We did talk also with Rebecca about that specific thing, and then she went away and it went, you know.
So what's the latest on that?
I thought that had been voted on. Was that the one we did?
That was gonna be the second reading.
There was a first read,
It was
we
the
didn't have
first
the
reading.
second.
So
read.
that has yet to come back to
Right,
us.
if
Yeah,
we had
it's
the
just
second
time
read
out
on
now.
that, then you could vote on it, and if it was approved, then it would go in and take effect in January and be updated on the website.
Was that to eliminate the broad language that said everything's a landmark?
Yeah.
The language.
National Service asked that we remove that one paragraph.
Yeah.
So we submitted that to the lawyer, along with that little sentence change so that
Yeah.
everything in the historic district will require the facade to be reviewed by our board. If you're contributing or not, you're part of the look and feel of the entire district. So there's one sentence, we said, please just fix this one error that the lawyer made when he wrote this code. And
2 words.
2 lawyers and 2 years later.
But I think he
So-
was also trying to save the city at the time, so.
Exactly.
Right.
Right,
Exactly.
Because what I read in the ordinance about the automatic designation is that any building, regardless of its contributing status, if it's on that certification, which actually I have a question for you, are there any buildings on Main Street that are not listed on that certification? Are they?
No,
They're all-
in the district. So if they're in the district, they all contribute to the look and feel of the district. So they're basically 1 through 99 or whatever, Main Street.
Yeah, the term contributing is a stumbling block. It's
It
been
is.
that several times.
Yeah.
Contributing doesn't mean what you think it means in
Yeah.
this legal term. Contributing simply means authentic to that time period.
Yes.
That all of the buildings add to the overall look and feel of the district and need to be mindfully painted and decorated and repaired. Keeping the tone of the district consistent. So if you're not a contributing building in the legal term, you're still part of the overall district. You still have a duty to maintain to certain historic standards.
So
On your
for-
facade anyway.
For example,
So.
in one
Go ahead.
city, a McDonald's went into a historic district
Yes.
but made it fit. And
Historic,
it
yeah.
made, it hit all the, dotted all the i's and t's, and it went in there and lo and behold, I mean, I wouldn't have believed it. I was falling the floor myself, but.
So,
hey,
I-
things happen.
Because we normally field the people first and hand them off. Some find you directly, but I'm gonna put myself in the shoes of a person that might buy a building and now what do I have to do? And I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So we have essentially eliminated, or we have the intent to eliminate that broad language that says everything's a landmark, right? Is that
It
correct?
would be a local.
A local landmark.
It's a district.
Okay, so we're,
The
is,
district is the land.
so the intent is to eliminate that. Let's just assume that's gone.
Yeah.
So am I correct to assume that nothing is a landmark now?
You are.
That is correct, even the district.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this.
I'm sorry.
That's not how I understand it, but we're not gonna debate it here.
But there's no building that's a landmark.
So there's no,
There's no historic.
there's
landmark.
no official, there's no official listing as like lot.
Right.
I mentioned
Right,
lot
I
before.
understand the difference, yeah.
Okay,
So, but I'm just
Yeah. I understand.
throwing it
I
out
get
there
it.
for everyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
so I'm buying, let's just make up a number, 117 Main, okay? That doesn't exist, right?
Does
Okay,
not exist.
okay. So for this question, it does. I'm buying 117 Main. I understand about the COA needed. And I'm looking at this ordinance and I want to, there's 4 green. Is that what you're talking about?
Landmarks.
They say you need, if you're gonna do any exterior work, you need a COA if it's a landmark. If you're gonna do anything else, you need a COA if it's a landmark.
4 out of the
There's
6
4
activities.
Go away.
So, well, hold on. 4 out of 6 say you need a COA if it's a landmark. If it's not a landmark, I don't need a COA.
That's not true.
Well, it is true how that's written. So is that changed too?
I understand, but the way that we understand it and the way that we are operating is that the district is essentially protected. All buildings within the district, within a certain address are protected. Okay, this just means they're protected. They need to be looked at. They need to be scrutinized. And to determine whether whoever it is that's going to apply to do something, whether it's paint or whether it's putting in new windows from Home Depot. You know,
But when,
those are the things that we look at.
but when you say protected.
Yeah.
Are you speaking of state level, federal level?
I'm talking about OHP, but I'm also looking at
So
NPS
state-
because NPS is the one that has a 714 page tome
Yes.
that basically lays out how historic districts nationwide should be looking at how they recommend you look at your district or you
Right.
look at the building, whether it's historic or it's in a district and it's contributing, blah, blah, blah.
Which I
Right?
think is why that ordinance
Ex-
language was put in there to give
Absolutely.
it further protection.
That's correct.
But that's
Yeah.
on the local level.
That's on the local.
That's
Yeah.
local, but that's not recognized state and federal.
Okay, so that's the part that's confusing to me because what we understand is that this is a national historic district. And it's the Japanese and Chinese
Right.
commercial district.
Right.
Okay, and somebody out there, I think it's the feds, called it that. So when you're saying it's not recognized as a district, that's the part that's very confusing because in fact. It is.
It is.
And in 1991. It states it because we became that.
But when you look at, so if you do a Google search for national landmarks,
Yes,
Ileton does not come up.
actually it does. And if you put Ileton, you will see, go to Ileton, just go to Wikipedia, okay? Or just go put in Ileton Historic District and it will pop up and it will guide you
Yeah.
directly to
That's just a
2 or
Google.
3 links that will tell you exactly what it is. So this is.
Hold on, no, that's just a Google search.
I understand
That's
that. I
that's
know,
different.
But that's what we all do.
But hold on, let's back to my question, because
It's,
I could get a horrible attorney and win this one. This says right here, major work requires the following: any exterior alterations of designated historic landmark. So unless this language is changed, I don't need a COA
You,
because it says right here, because my building is not a landmark.
that's.
It says it right here. It's in English.
What the debate has been for.
Yeah, but we have to use the words that are written to determine law and judgments. We can't say we intend for this or feeling. So I'm just this, we do more work here about this stuff than all you all combined. We have to talk about this. So when I have to look someone in the face and say, it says it's a landmark.
What is that? You're looking.
That's from the ordinance.
This is from the ordinance.
Okay, good.
It says the following are considered major and they need a COA.
Yeah.
But it says if it's a historic landmark, that's exterior alterations, new construction on the site of a designated historic landmark, moving of a historic landmark, lot split subdivision of a landmark.
So we go back to the language
Yes,
of that automatic
I
designation,
understand.
right? Because technically, we don't have historic land.
That's correct.
Right.
Not even the district is a historic land.
This is what we're talking about.
So that other language.
So
it
this language is
should-
problematic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. I think you're going off of old language, that we think that language has been struck in terms of the word historic landmark because it doesn't apply here.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's never been
however-
updated in.
And it has not been
Yeah,
updated.
so that's, I think, the
That's the
point
sticking
is that even in the drafts that we saw,
Mhm.
it said landmark. So from our perspective,
Yeah.
as owners of the ordinances, it
understand.
has not been updated.
Understood.
And so until we get there, John's
Yeah.
dilemma exists.
And I hear it completely and I understand it, but it's, we understand that language had been changed. This is what, and this is the way we operate,
So
okay?
Karen, Rita, you have a great proposal that you brought up, that you're an ad hoc committee, love that word. To update our ordinances, to review them, to get them all refreshed. We've been working on this one ordinance for
Yeah.
2 years,
So you-
because the policies.
So the three of you have been
Yes.
working on,
The policy.
okay,
The policies in different areas, the policies of the, when we first, there was no. The board, whenever they wanted, they didn't, on the ground, they did not. This
That is
came out
correct.
Halfway into
I know
our,
that for a fact.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
point
there.
that out, excuse me. Yeah, the first floor was worse.
they operated under no laws, no
We-
rules, no meetings, nothing. And we inherited this mess.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get it right, okay?
Yeah.
We're trying to do it too.
Let me say that, so you want to go over yours, we've been at various times going over, we started, the first thing we did was to try and get the ordinance fixed, so match not only our policy statements, which are on our website, but the state and federal standards, and we are a federally recognized historic district.
Yes.
And so, in order to keep that integrity of that district and preserve it, the only thing that you have is local ordinances. So the feds require you to have a historic review board and to have an ordinance that protects your district. And the reason it has to be local is because every city has a completely different need. They have one building or 5 districts, or the San Francisco's 50
Yeah, 50
districts and
districts,
1,000
yeah.
landmarks, and because they're also complicated and different and unique.
Yeah.
Your local ordinance is literally the only law that protects your historic assets. So we have been struggling to get this all consistent, updated, so that everybody in the district has to externally go through the COA process for the paint, the exterior gardening, landscaping. You know, just what's visually, what the public sees when they come to Ileton needs to be protected for the benefit of the entire city. And our local ordinance says that, and our local ordinances are clear.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
We can
attest to that.
Consensus.
So that's, we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
We, and to stumble over, worrying about the city policy, the state and federal policies are that we all agree, and we all, right now, we just have to appeal to people and beg them and persuade them to cooperate, so that we don't get more black eyes on Main Street. Every time someone goes off and does their own thing, we get another black eye.
Yeah.
And that street can't afford any more black eyes. So that is.
So-
And we're trying to do business development and we can't do any of that until this is fixed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because if I would bring in HGTV or somebody like that, the first thing they're gonna say, they're gonna read it, they go,
Where's the beef?
I'm gonna make the first attempt, since this is getting to be at 9 p.m. to try to conclude this
Yeah.
discussion.
All right.
Yes.
Are you on your last topic?
Yeah, that's the last topic,
Okay,
but I
so
do
I-
have one more question.
Okay, ask your question, then I want to summarize
Okay.
and make the attempt.
So can you just refresh my memory about the automatic designation and what that is supposed to say?
Paragraph D is supposed to be deleted. The
Deleted,
National Park
all-
Service said, take that out.
So if you take that out, you're taking away the historic landmark language.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
That's in that.
Historic land.
automatic-
Historic land.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
So
And
then,
leave
Taking
it-
that out.
so then it goes back to
We
the
have a federal
COA.
District,
We have a district, not historic landmarks, it's a district.
a historic district.
So those 6 activities,
Mhm.
that word landmark is going to change to district.
Essentially.
Well,
I understand.
It's one, actually, it's one clause on there that pretty much handles the whole thing. It says.
We
every-
can
Every
send you
building, we can send
the,
you language.
we had a whole email thread back and forth
Yeah.
with Rebecca.
Yeah.
Oh, I think she
Sure.
might still.
Yeah, I work on it all the
You
time.
work with it.
Yeah.
so,
I did.
yeah.
That
She's
you
still
can see
working.
where we ended the conversation.
Sure.
This
Yeah.
would fix all of this,
Yes.
would go away. And
Well, we
end
need a
up-
fresh review.
No.
So the point is that according to the board,
Mhm.
every building on Main Street requires a COA.
Yeah.
Regardless of contributing, non-contributing.
If they're doing
It's-
something
it's
to
in
the
the
outside, if
district.
they're doing something to
Yeah.
the inside, then they go to the building.
Yeah, I mean, we're
The
only there
facade.
for the
Yeah, the
facade,
facade.
and we look at it. Depending on whether it was considered by the document you talked about at
Yeah.
the beginning, whether they determined whether it was contributing or non-contributing, which just means, is it in the period and in the spirit of the period that is protected? Or that is identified, 1926 to 1945, is it true to that? And that means it's contributing. If it's not true to that, let's just say the day's in. Right?
Yeah.
The day's in. It's one of these things that it's not contributing anymore because
Right, it's been
somebody,
altered.
yeah, butchered it. And there we have it. And we have to give them guidance. Or
I'd like,
we have to give them guidance.
We talk
because-
about economic development and business development and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know that I could buy a building in this town because none of it made sense.
Well,
And I've done this stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm just really, I mean, I don't know if we need to also discuss how we present this to the public because that was all so confusing. I don't, and that's why everyone that comes in here, they never understand what you're saying, by the way. They're just happy they got the COA. They still do not know what happened. I'm gonna,
yeah, that's not how we proceed.
So we
Yeah.
can save
Oh,
16 minutes.
I'm not lying. I'm just saying that it's
We're
true.
not saying that you
Yeah.
are. I think that it's
Well,
perception and you're listening
and-
to it from
From the
two
person,
different sides of that.
well, I'm listening to the person that matters, the
Yeah.
one that's the applicant.
Yes.
That's the only one that matters.
That's what
You don't matter, I don't matter.
we're-
They do. I'm just saying it's confusing.
okay, I'd
There-
like
there's
to-
nothing about that that wasn't confusing.
since,
Save the money
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
by helping make better sound systems.
And that's beyond your scope, but that's okay. That's a different topic.
so you've asked your final question for the topic list.
Yeah.
I would make a recommendation to you, John, that we decide whether this has value and how to execute it based on the policies of the NPS and the OHP. So we'll learn in one of my action items that I summarized here, which I hope is accurate. We'll find out more about their requirements, and then we can find out more about what you're supposed to do with the historic district. So this is not confusing or debilitating to applicants. So I think your objection is reasonable, but I think we can learn from the authoritative bodies and make this designation.
I'll send Sean what I just found for his legal opinion, but what I just found online basically says that all we need to do is amend our ordinance and then they can operate as volunteers. This becomes the voting committee. And we can dispense with a lot of this.
Do what we can.
We would have to update the ordinance and then you would operate as volunteer.
I say,
And then you
okay.
wouldn't have the same Brown Act, and then you could operate how you are operating right now.
Right.
Bingo.
And
Yeah.
so there's no point in reinventing this, if that's
Right.
how it works. then maybe we take it to the next level, we change the ordinance all the way down, so that you would then come, almost like a staff report.
Right,
Like you
we were
were
doing a
saying.
long time
Okay,
ago.
so I'm gonna send this to Sean, cause I know where. And then why don't, before we jump into the other list that I had, which was like emails and all of these other things, why don't we start there?
I agree.
And then we'll.
That would help in streamlining that.
Yeah.
And with the Latha, and that can be potentially elevated on the ordinance, or maybe that is not within your guys. So, but
Yeah.
why don't we start there?
Okay, so let's make the attempt to summarize if we can. Thank you for that. So as I understand it, some form of an ordinance is coming back to council, either the version that never made it through the second reading or a version that's more compliant with these innovative suggestions. Something's coming back. Your statement of operating parameters, meanwhile, under the current circumstances, seem like they are viable. And the board should continue to operate so that no one's stalled on Main Street according to the direction you gave.
Just one
Correct.
person,
Well, we.
one person.
Now, I'm checking these off
Is that
the
what
way
you're
I
saying?
see them, but if I get it wrong, somebody jump in.
One
Right?
person or have open meeting.
Right on. So that's, we've gone through two. We will either convert the board to a volunteer, or we will expedite the expansion to 5 members.
Great.
Right, that's council's activity, agenda item. And you or whoever will research what the OHP requires for board composition or any other sort of overarching direction for how to manage a historic district under these circumstances. So we're better informed, and your concerns could be allayed if you had an ideal process.
Mhm.
You agree with those 4 action items?
Yeah, I do. Is
Okay.
council okay with it?
And let's conclude the item. Go ahead.
I actually have one more thing I want to throw in there, and I'm hearing that some of this is happening, so this is not to be put out there, some kind of challenge to anybody, but making sure that the city manager and Nate, the builder, are in the loop on everything, because that can lead to confusion. If anyone misses it, it's not that anyone is intentionally doing it,
Right.
any miss, then it leads to confusion for the owners and confusion for you all and confusion for the administrative staff of the city. So please keep them.
The better variance on one will be the better.
Right there.
We developed this,
Yeah.
we started with
That's great.
This flow chart is spells out exactly
That's
what we
fantastic.
see, everyone's realized, he had approved it. We've been trying to get a meeting with Mr. Penny, how to be able to do that yet, but, and we want this posted on the website.
You
because it
email.
would be a clear,
So ahead of a meeting, can you just email that to him?
we did.
We already did.
You have it?
Yeah, I don't remember ever anyone saying, I need to have a meeting with you.
No, we sent this asking for it to be posted.
Yeah, no, I'm just going back with, we've been trying to get a meeting with Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
Not true,
No, no.
unless you've been sending up like smoke
No,
signals or something. I don't know.
That was on the website.
That was on the website.
That was on the website.
Oh, you mean just creating agendas?
Learn about it, just to learn on how to upload things. on
So
the
we don't
website,
have to
that's
come
all.
to you when you
Yeah.
need to type something.
Okay, but
on
for the
your
purpose-
I still remember the invite, but whatever, yeah.
You have
It's,
you have the flow chart.
And so then
I
everybody.
do, I have lots of questions on it, but it's okay. It doesn't matter.
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
As mayor, I commend Vice Mayor Pellegrini's call for collaboration, because it makes the meetings easier when we have collaboration ahead of a public meeting.
Yeah.
That's in my best interest indoors.
Just everybody be on the same.
Yeah,
page.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah,
I-
if we had known that there was either topic tonight too, if it goes both ways, so that would be great.
all right, so I think my first attempt to interject without getting shut down might have worked, and maybe the second time I'll reach for the gavel. Are we, one more remark, Mr. Kennedy, you have the floor?
I have a clarifying, last meeting, you asked for this to be on the agenda.
Yes.
They were here, right? I was just told that
This is
you didn't know
special
about
meeting,
this.
so
The
I
special
wasn't
meeting,
asked.
actually, I don't think.
No one was here?
You
You were
you
here.
were here, Lori was
I
here,
was
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
you might have missed her
Okay,
saying
you-
that,
you-
I
You would
guess.
want, you would want to issue a formal, call for their presentation to them
I just,
and the timing.
if you really want to meet with me, send me an email or call me or something.
Yeah, I think we're all
Yeah,
saying.
so- Yeah. that's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Item 8 is now ready for public comment. Anybody left standing is welcome to express their views.
May I speak for a minute?
So,
So have we resolved the issue of the email addresses? Will it be Lori Kent at IDRB, Paul at IHBRB,
I
Paul
think-
at IHBRB?
Jessica,
We're still, yeah, but no, it won't be that. But it will be, we're trying to move away from that, naming. But we will, Paul and I will connect, whoever wants to, we will do the email address if that's even be to do quickly. So let's talk about that and how you want that to look, and we can post those email addresses on the website.
and resource permitting, I would request that the co-chairs or whoever is the representative of the IHBRB appear on the website somewhere describing
Yeah.
it all.
Okay,
Thank you.
maybe a list.
Pending,
of-
okay.
If you wanna talk about.
Any other public comment? Those present? Never mind.
Nothing
Okay.
online.
All right, so we're gonna conclude item 8 and go to item 9, which is department reports, starting with Public Works.
Are we
Those were all,
just read them?
those were all staff reports. You got any questions?
Oh,
That's-
okay.
yeah.
Any questions from council on these reports?
No. Lori's still back there, are you awake?
Yeah, I think if,
I did want to just say congratulations on the fixing of the filter pontoon. And I can't wait to see that on the pond.
yes, thank you. Code enforcement, same, just no questions, and how about fire department? Thank you for being here, no questions from the council, looks like, item, any public comment? Okay. Item 10, city council communications and reports. I have one item, unless you go first.
I attended a webinar on CEQA reform. It was very exciting. And I'm very happy to pass along all the links to the resources and
Thank you.
so on.
By the way, I tried to join you and was booted, and they apologized. for the technical-
Yes, there was
So
technical.
congratulations getting in.
Well, I got in, but it was audio.
Oh, but you're right.
Only now imagine a sequel before.
Yeah, I know.
Without,
Did you stay awake?
I did, it was only an hour, so.
Well, just so you know, I perused the links and they're fun. You
Yeah,
get the
oh
whole
yeah,
thing.
I looked at.
Okay, great. I have one request. I would like to request an agenda item. I would like to hear from the ordinance committee and possibly discuss priorities with the entire council present. Appropriate? Next meeting, if possible.
Yeah, what, just an update from it,
Yes.
from the ad hoc? Okay.
And discussion of priorities. And with that, any public comment on, go ahead.
Sorry, I actually have a question, because I believe our next meeting is the week of Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's cool.
Unless there's an emergency or something, we'll probably have no meeting that week.
No meeting on the 23rd?
Probably not,
So December 9th.
I'll be with.
whatever that say, yeah.
So
If something pops up,
before we go to,
you said, okay.
okay, sorry, I don't want to step on that. Before we go to item 11, I want to commend the public for this rather detailed and laborious working session. I believe it was necessary. I'd like to congratulate Councilmember Suarez on the insightful inquiries and everyone participating for that. I'm especially gratified because I've never seen a city attorney work so hard in public session. So with that, thanks to everyone, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.